Hi, this is Jonathan Tiersten from the Perfect House and Sleepaway Camp, and you are listening to the Real Nerds Podcast.
Hey, Real Nerds listeners, your favorite host Ryan here to remind you that social media is great. How great is it? There's many ways you can find the Real Nerds on social media. You can download us on iTunes. You can listen to us streaming on Stitcher Radio. You can call us 720-6nerds5. Aw man, our website is so cool. You can visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com. You want to leave some fan mail? Oh, that's so easy, realnerds@gmail.com. Twitter? We got it, @real_nerds. You can even like us on Facebook. Thank you so much, and hey, enjoy the show.
Welcome to Real Nerds Podcast, the only podcast out on the internet where Brad can hate on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I am your host, Zach Eastman.
You always do it like sexy and quiet to start off with. I like it. It's not as aggressive as Ryan used to host. Like,
he. You know what's the problem is that he's too forceful. I'm that gentlemanly lover.
I say used to host because, ladies and gentlemen, Ryan had a baby this week.
Yes,
and everything went very well. Baby is alive, and mother is alive,
and
they are both growing and getting older.
Baby.
Yeah. And looks like Ryan. Thank God.
It does.
Really looks like Ryan. So good for him, and good for Laura. Hopefully everything is still going well with them, and we wish them all the best of luck for the next few weeks as he remains not on the podcast.
But don't worry, I hear he'll be returning for something.
Yeah.
He said something to me about it, but then again, he was also massively drunk.
Probably the next Johnny Depp movie or Jason Statham film.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine it's one of those.
Because he's such a big fan. He's always talking about how he loves Johnny Depp.
Yeah, he loves Pirates of the Caribbean. He loves Secret Window. He loves Chocolat. He loves
Chocolat is his favorite film of all time.
Chocolat is his favorite film of all time. Who's his favorite? His favorite superhero is Tonto, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, actually, it is.
Tonto's not really a superhero.
I don't know. He's
a mighty warrior.
He's got he did that walk thing where he walks on the ladder as it doesn't get hit by a train.
Right. That's
like a superpower.
That's
he
like
has walk on ladder powers.
Right on.
It's very useful in the Wild West.
That's true.
Zach, we're not alone.
No, we're not. We have a special guest with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Shaughnessy McDaniel.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, Shaughnessy.
Hi, I'm Shaughnessy McDaniel. I'm with the Stubby Shillelaghs.
Very cool. What do you guys do?
We are a nerdy Celtic folk band from northern Colorado. I live here in Denver, but the rest of the band lives up in Greeley. But
that sounds like one of those things where you could say you are the Nordic Celtic geeky folk band.
Not a.
I don't know that. How many? Especially in Colorado, that's very niche.
It is pretty niche. There's one other band, Pandora Celtica, that's like...
Well, fuck those guys.
We'll start the war right now.
Oh, man. Oh, no. This escalated very quickly.
I know. Yeah. It's like the beer hall in Germany. We're going way too fast.
What did you do, Shaughnessy? You declared war on another band on the podcast. Sorry, guys. You shouldn't send me to do interviews anymore, I guess.
Very cool. How long have you guys been doing it?
We'll be celebrating our 4th anniversary, the 4th anniversary of our first show at the end of October. So we've been together for a little over 4 years. We've been gigging for slightly less than 4 years now.
So what do you play?
I play the guitar and mandolin.
All right.
Yeah, and I've heard about a Star Wars video, because I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard about the Star Wars video kind of thing that you guys do.
It's a Batman video.
Sorry, Batman video.
Batman video. There will be, I think... And I think it's the exclusive scoop. There will be a Star Wars video, but it's gonna be pretty far out.
Close
enough to the release
date?
of a certain film. That seems adventurous.
I like Shaughnessy. Shaughnessy's got my style. I totally
You can cut this tension with a knife, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll see.
Well, mostly it's about recouping some of our losses from from the latest video, the Batman video.
The Batman video. Okay.
So,
So explain the Batman video.
So the song that we did, Gotham's Finest, it fits in perfectly with your podcast because it's based off of the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy.
Cool.
Okay.
So each of the villains has their own verse in the song. So we have Scarecrow, Joker. Then we have a Catwoman verse, a Bane verse, and then finally Batman gets to have his word.
Does Talia al Ghul have one?
No.
Talia al Ghul's not in The Dark Knight Rises. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry. Spoiler alert. Like 2 years.
I'm pretty sure they missed the window on spoiler alert for that movie. I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about spoilers, but I'm like, I think you've got like a 3 to 6 month window after something comes out before
Especially something that big.
yeah.
Yeah. There's some things you don't talk about. You don't talk about the end of the first book of Walking Dead. You don't talk. There are certain things you don't talk about. But
do you think one of those is the Sixth Sense ending?
No, it everybody fucking knows.
If you haven't seen it yet, that movie was 15 years ago.
15 years. Yeah, but there's some people who I'm just like, I don't want to tell them. There's some people who haven't seen it out there, and I'm like, I'm not going to tell them. Why would I spoil their fun?
I wouldn't tell somebody that if I thought it was actually going to blow their mind.
Yeah.
But if it was going to blow their mind and they hadn't seen it yet, I don't know. I just wonder what rock they were living under.
Like if I met a child, like if I met like a 6-year-old who had not seen Star Wars yet, like was about to watch Star Wars for the first time, I would not run up to them and go, Darth Vader is Luke's father. Like that would be evil.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
But if I were like having a conversation on the internet about how Darth Vader is Luke's father, and somebody wrote me an email, we're like, "What the fuck?" I'd be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Why didn't you read the rest of the message?
Yeah,
well, that's the thing. And some of it is that there are also just certain things that are kind of ubiquitous now.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody knows.
Spoilers.
Do you feel that spoilers have ruined films? Do you think the internet has ruined the enjoyment of the movie going experience?
Oh, that's interesting. These are not questions I was prepared to ask, but it's all right. It's all right. I'm ready for this.
We are a nerd podcast. We want to mix it up with you.
That's all right. I mean, I'm a giant nerd and I'm a filmmaker, so spoilers ruining the experience of movie going. I think to a certain extent, but it also depends. Like for me, for example, I actually tend to avoid movie websites and forums and things like that with a few exceptions.
Yeah.
Like, I still like to go to the Force.net Jedi Council forums. Some of that's a bit of nostalgia.
Yeah.
I've been going there since I was 12.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so I still go there, but then again, they also have very distinct spoiler and non-spoiler forums that are moderated pretty well.
And they're clearly identified. Like if you've ever been on a message board before, it says star spoiler.
Yeah,
star.
I don't go to most spoiler boards because they're just filled with jack-offs that
that like ruining fun.
And as soon as I see somebody doing kind of the troll thing, I'm kind of done with whatever sector of the internet that I'm in there.
We come from a different world because I love reading the trollies.
It's mostly it's just it's okay if
they're terrible,
but
they're
funny. If there's one or two buttholes doing it. But there are times when you go in and you've just walked into this flame war. That's it.
Sometimes
that's all it is anymore. And I'm well, for one thing, I wasn't there at the beginning, so I don't know the context that this is loosely based on.
I don't know whose mother they're insulting in this particular
panel. Who can I call? Who can I call fat or whatever? I just don't know.
It becomes like an old PC hard drive cloister scan where you're going through one cloister at a time, and sometimes it's just a bad cloister, and I just can't go back to that corner anymore. And it's called 4chan, and it's the rectum of the internet.
That's why I've gotten a lot less interactive on things that aren't social media. I've gotten a lot less interactive than I used to be. I used to before social media, when you'd have to go to chat rooms and forums and stuff, I used to be very much like a dude who kind of lives on the internet.
Yeah.
And since
you got a life,
social, well, that's true. I do have a job, and sometimes I get to go on dates with women.
Ooh.
But other than that,
fuck us.
Welcome to Gigglecast.
But other than that, it's just not. And I try not to get too.
Social media made the internet very small.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is all of your music based on DC characters? I would see those desperately trying to get this back on track.
I know.
Is there a Green Arrow song I can listen to? Because I'm watching Arrow now.
Well, we're actually right now we have several nerd songs that are available. we have the Jedi Drinking Song, which is actually a cover from a band called the Dust Rhinos out of Canada.
Oh, cool.
But it's a really good one. That one's available on our live CD, Parental Advisory Live. Our last CD, Celtic American, has 3 nerd tracks on it, basically. Cool. It has it has a Batman song, our Gotham's Finest, and it has an Avengers song called A Toast to Phil, and then in parentheses, Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Hell yeah.
And then we also did a cover from one of our favorite heavy metal bands, Iced Earth, which is a song called Question of Heaven, which is about Spawn.
Nice.
Wow.
So it's a very
That's a
obscure
deeper
song
cut.
about a fairly obscure comic book character from a fairly obscure heavy metal band, and we did a Celtic folk version of it. So
That's the ultimate meta.
I know it is definitely like the new wave of nerd, like solidified.
Yeah.
Next thing
That's
you know,
cool.
they're going to start doing like Rorschach raps or something like that from the
My
Watchmen.
name is Rorschach, and I'm here to say they'll ask for help, and I'll say no way.
Oh my god, that was awesome.
Oh my
Holy
God.
shit.
There's
I'm
a-
so glad I have that on
Wait,
wax.
is there a way to hold on? This is the way I applaud, is just by tapping the mic.
Oh my god. So
was great.
what's the rest of it? Is all more traditional Celtic music? or are you
so
guys
we do
mixing
kind
it
of a
up?
mix. We do, and that's why one of the things that's really fun about this band that we really like is that we have kind of 3 different groups that we play for. We have our pub group, which is really about kind of loud, fast, and just making you want to drink.
Yeah.
And then we have our our music festival crowd and our more proper concert crowd where we do some of the more musically technical
who wanna get
things
impressed, yeah.
and
More orchestra.
yeah, and then we have our convention crowd. So we played at Galaxy Fest, we played at Starfest, and we played the kickoff party at the Hard Rock for Denver Comic Con, and we played on the Denver Comic Con floor this last year.
Cool.
So
Excellent.
we have a lot of nerd material that we haven't recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that is that it's original material that we just haven't gotten around to recording yet, and some of it is that it's covers of other people's stuff that we, at least before our last recording, had not gotten permission for. We've gotten permission for a few more. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Voltaire.
No.
He does a lot of Star Trek songs, and he's kind of big.
Yeah.
He's kind of big in the steampunk and goth community right now.
Oh, okay.
But,
I've heard the name.
But yeah, we just got permission from him to do a couple of the Star Trek songs of his that we cover, and so we're probably going to be recording that on the next album, which is going to be, at least right now, it's possible that we're going to do a live album before, but I think I could probably give you a second scoop.
Is this one about girls?
No,
Oh, fuck.
no.
All right, go ahead.
How many Doctor Who groupies do you bang? Come on, tell me.
God damn it. He's going to give us a scoop. Hold on.
There is a song about Doctor Who groupies though, kind of.
Oh.
But the next album, at least as we're planning it right now, is going to be just nerd songs, which we haven't done before.
Wow.
Nice.
So one of them is a Doctor Who song that I've been working on. That's about basically it's about this dude who starts dating this Doctor Who fan, and he doesn't like Doctor Who, and by the end of the song, because he's had to watch so much Doctor, and so it's basically it's an excuse for me to point out my gripes with Doctor Who, but still
Thank you.
at the end of the day, I still watch Doctor Who, so.
Oh.
Like any proper nerd.
Oh,
Yeah.
my blood brother. Oh. River Song is the worst thing to ever happen to Doctor Who.
I'm loving
Very cool.
Capaldi though. I'm loving
Yeah?
it.
I missed this
I haven't
week,
seen him
so-
yet.
Yeah,
It's
I haven't
it's
seen it yet.
good. It's good. It's dark and he's Scottish, so it's a little bit more my thing.
Yeah. I was
So
just going to
it's
say,
not, it's not the goofy Matt Smith.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I liked goofy Matt
I
Smith.
just
personally.
want them to kick him off the show. I want to ask you a quick question. So your name is Shaughnessy McDaniel. How'd you get into Celtic music?
Well, my parents had apparently set me up to be the world's biggest Irish stereotype. If I'd had red hair, I would have just completed the package.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my dad was always really into Celtic culture and stuff. Right now we got the Longs Peak Highland Festival going on up in Estes. Usually I go, but this weekend I had a bunch of other stuff to do. So
Did you learn mandolin growing up?
no, I actually didn't learn it until until we started the Stubby Shillelaghs. I played guitar since I was 11 or so.
Yeah.
But I didn't start playing. My sister had played the mandolin, and she was
One day you
my-
were like, "Fuck that, give me."
yeah. Well, she was living
I'm
with my
better than
parents.
you.
She was living with my parents for a little bit before she moved back up to Canada with her now husband. So like I just picked it up one day, and the band just wanted to jam. That was it wasn't like we should make a band and do this as like.
It was
as like a part-time job, basically.
It was
what
just
it
like,
is
let's
now.
just chill out and relax.
Yeah, and drink some beers and play some tunes. And then, like, we played one show just thinking, for a laugh, let's go play a show at a pub. And then they offered us, because everybody responded to it so well, they offered us a weekly gig, which we've been doing for almost 4 years now. So
Nice.
Very cool.
So that's, it's...
So you hear that, kids? The Celtic band dreams come true just like by hard work and determination.
And let me lie to you, kids. You get all the ladies.
What kind of tale is pulled by that?
Dude, you don't want to know. You don't want to know.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the
Where
show.
can we find your music?
Yeah, where can we find you guys?
I didn't even tell you about the premiere event. Oh, my
That's
goodness.
right.
We
Third
got on
scoop.
so many like fun other tangents about other weird shit.
We got a Rorschach rap.
We got a Rorschach rap, but I didn't tell you about the charity event that I was here to talk about. So on September 20th at the Cress in Greeley, Colorado, we're doing our charity event. So the thing with Gotham's Finest is that we're donating 25% of all the proceeds from the song. So obviously it'll be up on YouTube for people to watch, but hopefully they'll go and buy it on iTunes, Amazon, whatever. 25% of the proceeds from that will be going to the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. And then the premiere event that we're doing, 100% of the money that we make from that is going to Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. So it's at the Crest Theater in Greeley, Colorado from 7 to 9 on September 20th. Entry is free. There's a suggested $5 donation. We're going to be doing. We've got raffle tickets. We've got. We're going to have. We're going to have. We're going to have cosplayers there to do pictures and things like that. And so it's going to be. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's kind of our. We really went all out on this video, so we tried to make it really cinematic and really fun. I think everybody's gonna really enjoy it, but mostly we wanted to make sure that if we were gonna do this kind of like self-indulgent, like super nerd thing, like we did, that we did something that kind of helped give back. So
Very cool.
So like I said, and if your listeners want to, they don't have to wait to go buy Gotham's Finest. It's out on iTunes and Amazon now. And we've been doing the 25% of the proceeds to charity for a while now. It's just that nobody's been buying the track.
But that needs to change
Well,
today,
they will
folks.
now.
So get on over to iTunes, get on over to Amazon, look it up. What's it called? Band called again? It's
The Stubby Shillelaghs.
Stubby Shillelaghs. Look
Can
them
you
up.
spell that? Because the internet's dumb.
Yeah. So the Stubby Shillelaghs is spelled Stubby.
That's the easy part.
Space. SHILLELAGHS.
Cool.
You can also find us at thestubbies.net, which is a little bit easier to spell.
Oh, thank God.
And then usually if you type in The Stubby on Facebook, our name will just pop up.
man.
Oh my God, that's so perfect.
Well, usually when you type in the stubby, if Zach types in the stubby on Facebook,
it
he
means
gets
something
very
completely
different.
different.
Well, I don't know what pages you're liking, but for the normal person
don't wanna
out there, it'll probably work like that.
Oh, very cool.
It's called
very
amputee
cool.
porn.
Sorry, you're
Anyway.
trying to wrap us up, and I ended up going on another 4-minute tangent.
No. That's what we're here to
I'm
talk
all hopped
about.
up on sugar, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad I didn't offer you a
I'm the
Mountain
one who
Dew.
had the third can of Mountain Dew. You're
That was 4, dude. I've been
Yeah.
counting. Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
We are. What are we doing? Oh, you know what? We have actually, Zach. We've got fan mail this week.
fan mail.
Fan mail.
Hey, Real Nerds, it's Ryan. You know, me, the host. I just wanted to call and let you know that the littlest Real Nerd has been born. Kellen Leon Frost was born on September 2nd. Okay, I'm just kidding. Zach Eastman, you will never replace me. My shoes are so big to fill, you don't even know what hurt you're in for when I get back. You don't even know, bro. You don't even know. Oh, and by the way, can't think of any Wesley Snipes action movies. Passenger 57 and Demolition Man are great. So yeah, Real Nerd, Zach Eastman, Brad, Zach, James, get ready. When I come back, I'm laying the boom down. Peace, bitches.
I don't know what laying the boom down means. Is that,
well,
you know
how I type in stubbies? I also type in laying down the boom.
it sounds like a Kevin James movie.
Yeah, laying down the. Here comes the boom, laying in the boom.
I mean, still, yeah.
I mean, he's right. Demolition Man and Passenger 57.
Is Passenger 57 good?
I've never seen it. I just know it exists.
No one saw it.
I mean, is Demolition Man though like objectively good? I mean,
this is
boom, Ryan. Boom. There's the boom right there, courtesy of the Stubby Shillelagh himself.
I would argue that U.S. Marshals is good.
Yes. Oh,
U.S. Marshals is good.
We had good things to say about it last week. I think Ryan's just.
I just wish that man would pay his goddamn taxes.
Ryan is just upset because he has a kid right now and he doesn't get to have all these fun nerd parties anymore, you know? Like he can't, I'm sure he's going to be too busy to go to the event, but you all should go to the Stubby Shillelagh's charity event.
You fucking whore.
Yeah.
We're moving on to the podcast now.
but I'm still here for some reason. They're not letting me leave.
We have him bound to the chair, folks.
Yeah. I was trying to be nice about the baby, but I guess fucking dick bag. Anyway.
Yeah, but anyway,
cool.
Fuck you, Ryan. You know, I think I'm doing a fine job hosting this show, and when you come back, James and Brad are just going to be like, we want to replace you right away.
It feels like it's falling apart without you, Ryan. But still,
we had a Rorschach rap on here.
Yeah,
I have a microphone. I think that's a pretty good sign of the degradation of the overall system.
Yeah.
I turned this into the corniest '70s show ever.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Conway Twitty.
Cool.
I'm going to put some Conway Twitty in there now. So, box office numbers.
Box office numbers.
Yeah.
This is the box office stats.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Again?
Of course. Yeah, duh. What the fuck else was going to win?
In other news, Guardians of the Galaxy is still the only movie out, folks.
Yeah. What did we see last week? Oh, yeah, Boyhood, which has been out forever and no one is seeing it. Let me just keep scrolling. Okay, so Boyhood was number 16 last week, down from number 12 at $1.9 million, which is too bad.
But still, it's making a lot of money for a film on a limited release.
Yeah. And it's Boyhood. Like, not a lot of people are going to run out to see the movie that took 12 years to make.
Right.
But yeah, Guardians is doing well. You seen Guardians?
Oh, I love Guardians.
Yeah?
I love Guardians.
Isn't that shit dope? Man,
it
was so good.
It was amazing. It was amazing that it was amazing how much I loved a $200 million comedy.
Yeah,
Which, I guess that was the way I really saw it. I mean, it was a comedy that had action sequences, like how most of the other Marvel movies are action movies that have comedy sequences.
Yeah,
totally.
It's the vice versa in this one. What did you think of the spoilers if anybody hasn't seen Guardians of the Galaxy? But what did you think of the post-credit sequence?
Well, I was definitely surprised.
I love getting that reaction out of people.
I guess I won't say. I guess I won't say which character appears, but
can we say it?
No.
That's right.
But all I'll say is, holy shit!
Yeah.
It was the one character from the Marvel universe that I would not have expected to ever see again in the cinematic universe of Marvel.
Right.
Yeah.
So
well, you sort
in
of
the serious
like,
tome that they're taking now.
Yeah.
You sort of always thought that somebody like, Cosmo, like that dog might show up at some point, but the rest of it, no.
Yeah,
this character was not supposed to ever show up.
I think it's interesting because they're getting into such like weird corners of the Marvel universe that I wouldn't have expected. And I guess some of it is that they have to, because two of their biggest franchises are not under their control still.
Right.
They're having to mine other areas, but they're doing it in really interesting ways. So it doesn't matter what Marvel puts out, even if it's a comic book that I never read. And I've read a few in my time.
Yeah.
But I'm still excited about it because I know that every approach that they're taking to it the approach has been solid. Not every movie's been great. I was not a big fan of Iron Man's 2 and 3.
Yeah.
But I think that overall the way that they're doing it, no matter what franchise they're tackling, they know how to deal with their own franchise.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of cool that because they're doing those weird ones like you're talking about, we're getting to see stuff that, like, you go into a Spider-Man movie, you kind of know what you're going to get. Like, it may be great, but you kind of know what you're going to get. Whereas, dude, this movie took us to nowhere. Like,
Yeah.
who would have thought you would have seen a place like that, even in like a cool Star Wars movie, like seeing a basically like weird planet space station thing where they mine goo out of a giant head. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a cool idea.
It just gives me all the faith in the world that Star Wars 7 will work because it's being handled by that same company. That means that
Right.
they're going to allow shit to happen. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and I mean, and it's one of those things like when you're talking about Disney, whether you're talking about the Marvel acquisition or Star Wars. I mean, I don't know about you, but I butt puckered a little bit when I heard the news that was going down. But I've been really happy with the way that Disney's been handling that because obviously, like, comic books are a big deal to me. But I mean, Star Wars was my life growing up. I mean,
Yeah,
that was
right.
that was like my big thing. So when they announced that they were doing new movies and that Disney had acquired it, I was really excited because the best thing that I think you could do for the Star Wars franchise is to have George Lucas give it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Agreed.
And to give it to somebody that, no matter how you feel about J.J. Abrams, like the fact that he is one of us and loves that series is, and sort of gets it.
Well,
like he knows how to tell a great story.
I'd heard that he turned it down twice
Uh-huh.
because he was so afraid of making a shitty Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Which I'd feel the same way if I was given like directorial powers and I made a shitty Star Wars movie, I would probably take a long walk
Yeah.
off a short pier with cement shoes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You
but
don't
it's
want to
also-
create the next Jar Jar on accident.
Yeah.
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 It's also really cool that, like, I'm sure his gut instinct would be to do his sort of mystery box like he's always done, where like he puts out a teaser and it's just like it's an S and a W, and you just know they're the Star Wars S and W, but you don't ever see anything else. And then one day you show up at a movie,
Except for the one
fact that
kid
he's-
who's like, "What's what?"
right. The fact that he's peeled that back, and it's probably also a Disney commandment thing as well, where they're like, no, you can't keep this a secret. Like, you've got to tell people what's going on. I think is really cool because it means that we're starting to see little snippets and go like, oh, this is going to be good.
Well,
You know?
I think a lot of that was that most of the lack. I mean, there's still quite a bit of secrecy, but most of the lack of secrecy relative to what J.J. Abrams usually does is a result of people being just deathly afraid that we're going to end
Right.
up with the prequel trilogy again.
Yeah.
And so that's why, like, when he did that UNICEF thing, you see this Muppet character walking behind him pulling this little cart, just so that people know that those sorts of things are what's back in vogue with Star Wars.
They're
Which is
yeah,
awesome.
they're creating the world. They're actually creating it. It's not just on a digital plane or platform.
And I think it not only creates the right feel that you want, but I think also for your actors, I think it helps because I mean, yeah, the actors are trained and stuff, but it's still a lot easier to act off of something that actually exists than just like a tennis ball on a stick in front of a green screen in the middle of a studio.
Right.
That you never leave. All of your sets are in the same place, and there's a lot more magic to capturing parts of the actual world and making them seem Star Warsy like they had to do with the first trilogy.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. This weekend, though, in film history, is Jeepers Creepers weekend. Both Jeepers Creepers came out on this weekend in the past, which I only bring up because they have Justin Long in that one, and Tusk is coming up.
Oh my god!
I'm just playing to your.
I thought you guys
sensibilities.
were like baking a cake or something
No.
to celebrate Jeepers Creepers weekend.
Nope.
Yeah, that's
And
what,
every now
that's
and
what
then-
James and I do every year.
Every now and
Happy
then,
Jeepers Creepers weekend.
every now and then when we talk about what the big box office number was, we also take a look back and see like, well, what was big in the past?
Yeah.
So
And Justin
yeah,
Long
apparently
being in
all
Tusk
of
is
the
also
Jeepers-
big news because Tusk is coming out. It's almost here.
Well, it's weird.
Do you
Jeepers-
know what Tusk is, Sean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's.
Well, does anybody really know what Tusk is?
I think that's some of it.
I mean, like it's.
I don't know if
he's
I'm-
explained what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm excited or not because I mean, I love Kevin Smith and I love his early work because obviously, if you're a film buff and just a nerd in general, but as he's strayed outside of that, especially when he tried making when he wrote a certain actual comic book film. Actually, you can take your pick of whether you want it to be the Superman Lives or
The Green Hornet.
or Green or
He did do Green Hornet. Well,
Daredevil.
He did Daredevil.
I was thinking Daredevil.
He was in Daredevil. Like, he was in it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wrote the script for that.
No,
too.
he didn't. It's
He-
Mark Steven
he
Johnson is the director and the writer.
He wrote Daredevil for Marvel Knights.
Yeah.
But I don't think they.
Yeah, but it's but I mean,
The things that are wrong with Daredevil are not.
he wrote a Green Hornet screenplay that's really good, and they did it in a comic book form.
Mm-hmm.
So like he knows how to do it. But like, I mean, the idea of Tusk is just like, it seems much more tangible and much more reachable than the Human Centipede was. So I'm just excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, I mean those sorts of like, you know, kind of like odd.
Feels like an old monster movie, like from the back of the day.
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting. I would like Human Centipede was definitely not my bag, but
Bag.
It just looks it the trailer makes it seem like this old laboratory monster movie. Like it just I'm just excited for it. It looks fantastic.
As a huge Red State fan, I like it when Kevin Smith does things that aren't comedies.
Yeah.
That's not that I don't like his comedies. It's that I think
like
he's
Jay and Silent Bob.
mostly I sat through Jersey Girl and I haven't been the same since.
Oh.
That's a sweet film. Very sweet-hearted. Ben Affleck knows how to cry.
What's coming out on Blu-rays this week?
I don't know, but I think we'll find out.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
Oh, I know one that I'm really excited about.
Yep.
Cap 2.
This is a huge week for Blu-rays.
Yes!
Captain America 2 comes out this week.
Winter Soldier.
So yeah, like just go fucking pick that up. And while you're there, I'll say it. You ought to probably pick up that first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. Like it won me over by the end.
I was the same way. Did you kind of have that lull after like 2 or 3 episodes in where you're like, then it kind of like towards the mid-season finale, you were kind of like, yeah, we're getting there.
And then you watch Cap 2, and then it all suddenly makes sense.
It's as soon as they started tying it into Cap 2, that's when it was like, this is fucking
beautiful.
brilliant. I want every Marvel TV show. It's not the budget it needs. It's written a little bit like a 90s show, but you know.
That was the problem.
That's
It was... I think what happened is they started off trying to make it really like a procedural. And then I think what they realized is that nobody gives a shit about those kind of shows anymore. And especially not in the way that you need fans to care about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
You can make Law and Order like that because Law and Order has a much smaller budget to get to create the world that you need to do for Law and Order. You don't have to have nearly the audience that you have to do Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, and I don't disagree with this mentality, but there are some problems with it. I think that they approached the show saying, look, we don't want to tie it too much into actual Marvel lore at first because we want to give these new characters time to breathe and grow and get introduced. So there were all these episodes. The moment I realized it was, I think, like episode 4 or something like that, is when the one girl gets like injected with some shit and like her brain's gonna pop or something like that, and like they gotta save her or some shit. I don't remember.
I love that summary.
Anyway, like some crazy shit's going on.
Remember
and
that
like
one time when they did all those things?
like they have to
And
like
the stuff. They did the stuff too with the things.
Stuff was awesome.
they gotta like learn to be friends and crap, like whatever. And that was when I realized, like, oh, you're focusing on this rather than focusing on like building a huge villain or tying this into the Marvel Universe somehow, which made a lot of sense, but it's not why people came to the show. Like, people came to the show because they were like, oh, I love Marvel stuff. And so they really needed a little bit more of that early on. Like, they needed a Thanos. They needed, some kind of a big thing in the future
like
that's
they were gonna reveal Thanos in a
No,
TV show.
but I mean, like, they needed to pick a villain like that was going to be a Hail Mary pass that was like, look, this series is about X, and you are eventually going to see us fight this person, or like this is, and they've avoided that. Like, they haven't even had like Hydra show up or anything like that. They should have
put Baron von Strucker in there
until near the end. Hydra shows up, and that's when the show started getting interesting.
I like how it built around that mysterious MacGuffin. Right. And it was really not revealed until Winter Soldier.
Right.
And then with that, Winter Soldier fed in just awesomely into the season finale, and it was just it was really interesting. It was really interesting television, really interesting cross media synergy.
Oh, totally.
But I'm still saying they should have put Baron von Strucker in there. They put him at the end of Cap.
You're right.
They should have led him in as like the big reveals, the big.
Or just have him involved, for sure. I agree. Something like that exactly would have been good. It would have just
been fun to watch that connection go even further because Baron von Strucker is going to be a big part of Avengers 2.
Or at least put something in earlier, because the problem is that it is really cool to be able to say that they made an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show while at the same time they knew they were making a movie that was going to destroy S.H.I.E.L.D., right? Like, that's a cool idea that you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Right. So the fact that was all going to tie together is awesome, but it means that for the first 2/3 of that season, you were like, where the fuck are we going?
Well, and that was the kind of thing that the sort of thing they did with Cap. I mean, maybe not. I wasn't expecting on the same level. Was what I was expecting when they were like next week's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ties in with Thor: The Dark World, and I was like, all right, fucking sweet.
Yeah, and then it was like, we're sweeping up after Thor: The Dark World.
The delivery on that, I was like, oh, what a television cockblock.
Do you remember that set piece? We're at that set piece.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is how it
exactly.
connects with the Dark.
And that's what I was.
But when they brought in Enchantress, it was a little underwhelmed. I liked Lady Sif. Enchantress was kind of like meh, but it was. That's when I knew though that the show was moving in the direction that it was promising on and was starting to deliver.
Right.
And then by the end of the first season, man, you get that delivery, and you get. I won't give the spoiler away, but you get a great, very Joss Whedon ending vis-a-vis what happens to the main villain of the season.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yep. But I mean, still not as good of a season as season two of Hannibal, which you can also pick up this week, and I highly recommend it. It was the best season of television I watched all last year.
One of the
catch up on that one.
One of the most disturbing shows on television.
It's fucking good.
That and Bates Motel are two of the most on the edge shows.
Yeah. I thought this had already come out, but Nebraska's on here for some reason. I thought you could already get it.
Blu-ray.
If I have not gotten a chance to see Nebraska, so I will probably check it out.
It's really good. If you have a chance to watch, if you're in the mood for a good black and white movie, that is your movie.
Cool.
No, it's really smart. Bruce Dern's amazing in it.
Yeah.
It's just a very simple story. It's just about this man going to try to pick up his lottery winnings when it's all a scam, and just watching the development and just watching this man's journey it's incredible.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
Homeland season 3 comes out this week, which I totally missed.
Homeland, great show.
There is a Blu-ray release of The Great Race. So if you've never seen Jack Lemmon in The Great Race, that's a pretty great movie.
Great. Fun little film to check out.
Season 9 of Supernatural, which is again that show that everybody tells me I should see. Have you ever watched Supernatural?
I did. My dad watches it and he loves it, but
you don't get it?
I did. It wasn't that I didn't get it. It was that sometimes shows come out at a time when I'm very busy, and if I don't get into it and I missed 2 seasons, starting on season 3 sounds tedious.
Yeah,
I either have to watch the complete 2 other seasons. Now, I mean, if something just blows me the fuck away, I can do that. But and that one, it didn't. In terms of the way that it dealt with supernatural things, it didn't really catch my interest in the way that I like.
Yeah,
which I guess is just kind of a personal preference. It's a good show.
Right.
The episodes I've seen have been good. I wish I understood more, but I wish I understood more without having to watch every other fucking episode that was out there.
It's one of those shows that people keep coming to me and being like, "You need to watch Supernatural," and I'm like, "I do."
It seems like,
and then I don't.
It seems to be a question we've asked on the podcast a couple times. I remember earlier this year we were like, "Have you watched Supernatural?" Then another episode we were talking about Supernatural.
It keeps coming up. One of these days I'm gonna fucking watch it.
We need to have a segment on the show called "Have You Seen Supernatural?"
Everybody going, no.
Yeah, we'll start interviews that way.
Most people I know that watch it are women my age or things like that.
Yeah,
I haven't noticed that it's extremely popular with the male segment that I know.
There's a lot of shirtless dudes in it, but that's okay. I'll watch a show with shirtless dudes if the story's cool.
We'll just ask Cora next week. Have you seen Supernatural?
Oh no, so Cora's one of the people who comes to me and is like, "You need to see Supernatural." Another show I haven't seen is The Vampire Diaries. Has season 5 coming out this week, so good for them. There's a Blu-ray release of the original Prom Night. With
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
There is a Scream Factory release of Pumpkinhead. So I'm sure that Ryan is sitting at home with his infant watching Pumpkinhead as he buys.
Kevin, this is a horror movie. This is real. This is Shout Factory.
Yeah. Then we have Brick Mansions, which is one of the last Paul Walker movies, is coming out. Paul Walker and the RZA. Actually, here he's just credited as RZA. Is he not the anymore?
He can be the RZA. He can be RZA. He can be whatever you want. The whole damn
all right.
RZA.
All right, fine.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
I'm glad you gave me context there because I was totally missing. I was like, I know the name, but I can't say that.
I thought
the
it used
RZA,
to
the
be.
Jizza, Inspector Dak, Dirty Logan, roll with the skull.
Holy
Introducing
shit.
The Ghostface Killer.
Why didn't
What the fuck?
you rap battle me then when I started doing Rorschach?
Because I'm not clever enough to come up with a rap on my own.
Because Wu-Tang.
What
ain't
I
nothing
sang
to
was
fuck
an
with.
actual rap.
I saw this thing. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's this video while we're talking about Wu-Tang Clan. It's that song, but somebody had cut together pieces from just a whole shitload of different movies. That's just the entire song of Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
That's awesome.
So it's definitely one you should check out on YouTube. One of those fun little
After
pieces.
3.5 years, nobody has ever before said, well, we're talking about Wu-Tang Clan. And then the really, for me, big release this week is the Star Trek, the Compendium comes out, which means that I finally get to own Star Trek Into Darkness.
Nice.
So if you don't know, this is the collection of Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness together, and this version of Star Trek Into Darkness includes all of the special features I would like to spend my money on, which means that, yes, I will gladly spend money on Star Trek, which I already own on Blu-ray, again, so that I can actually spend money to buy the version of Star Trek Into Darkness I want to
I
own.
just hope this doesn't mean
just
we're
going
not
into
gonna-
the double dippers.
But no, I protested this for years. I said I wasn't going to buy Star Trek Into Darkness because they tried to fuck me and make me double dip at the time, and I didn't do it.
It's not years. It's only been a year.
Whatever. It's a fucking force of will, Zach.
God damn it.
Do you know how many times I was at a Tradesmart and I was like, I could get Star Trek Into Darkness for $1, and I didn't because I knew that eventually. So if you don't know the story,
The way he
they
said
released
dollar
it so
is
that
hilarious.
they released it so that if you bought Star Trek Into Darkness at Target, you got the commentary with J.J. Abrams. But if you wanted the special featurettes, you had to go to Best Buy and buy it. But that wouldn't have the commentary from J.J. Abrams. But if you went to Walmart, you could get a different special feature. So you would have to, in order to get all of the special features, go to like 3 or 4 different places to buy it.
Hey, he's
and I said, fuck
trying to
that.
cater to the fact that we like to collect.
I hate that. At least like they used to do, you know,
It used
like
to be
the,
bullshit. Like
It
covers
was. It
and,
was.
like-
I remember, like, I went to go get episode 3 on DVD back at Target, and it just came with this coin. It was fucking cool as shit, but I could have lived without the fucking little coin of Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting on Mustafar.
But I can't live without my commentary.
No, you
from
gotta have the
J.J. Abrams.
commentary tracks.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
That's good. I hope this means we still do get a Star Trek 3 with a Klingon War.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
That'll
Star
be-
Trek 3 is still coming.
Yeah.
So not from J.J. Abrams. But
I know it is, but I'm just like, when I hear that, like they collected it together, I'm like, oh, that means they're going to reboot it
No,
again.
no. They did it for this reason.
Star
There were-
Trek: The Reboot, the Next Generation.
I am not the only person on the internet who is livid about this. So
right on.
So I don't want to hijack your show, but there
Not at
was
all.
one piece of news that I didn't know if you guys had seen.
we haven't gotten to news yet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Give me one more second, and we'll do news.
yeah,
Good.
Okay.
It was a Blu-ray thing, but it was also like a news thing.
That's okay. We'll do it in news. Cotton
I'll
Comes to
hijack you
Harlem. The last movie we're going to talk about is Cotton Comes to Harlem. I have no idea what the fuck this is, but it looks dope as shit. Look at this cover.
It's a Black
Oh my
PlayStation
god.
movie from back
this
in the day.
is pretty cool. Holy shit. Yes. All right. Anyway, also I think the title Cotton Comes to Harlem is pretty ridiculous.
That's pretty awesome, is what it is.
Yeah. Are we doing news? Let's
Yeah.
do news.
It's real news.
Shaughnessy, do you have any news for
I
us?
do. I have a delightful piece of news.
Oh, good.
I don't know if you guys had seen it, but I saw it when I was looking through the Blu-ray website today, which was quite fortuitous because I hadn't done it in a very long time. But they announced 4K Blu-ray Christmas 2015.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay.
So it's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I
It's
mean, I don't know how
impor-
you guys feel about 4K.
It's important because it's the new it's the new wave, and it's the new wave of home media.
Do I need a different player?
I think you are going to need a new player,
Okay.
but
As long as the old player will play my current Blu-rays, then I'm not.
it should. My guess is that it'll upscale them to 4K.
Yeah, just like the Blu-rays
your
did.
current Blu-ray player does with your standard definition
Yeah.
DVDs.
No, it's cool, dude. I went to a Paul's TV not too long ago, and I stood there for probably like 5 or 10 minutes, just staring at a 4K TV because it is gorgeous.
Yep. The
It
image
is
quality
really,
is
really
amazing.
pretty.
How,
I don't know if
how
there's going
big
to be
was
content
how
for
big
it.
was the TV?
It was like 60 or 70, but I was real close too.
Yeah, that was
I
the
was like
thing that-
right up there,
that
and
was
I
the
was
thing that
like,
I've
"This
been
looks
curious
real."
about. Because I mean, obviously, like as a filmmaker, 4K has been something that a medium that I haven't worked with it a lot because I do TV for the most part, and then I do little film projects on the side.
Yeah.
But that was the thing I was curious about because I mean, most of the people I know, if you have a 40-inch TV, they can't even really tell the difference between 720p and 1080p.
Yeah.
Now, if you tell them that.
Right.
It kind of becomes Emperor's New Clothes, except that not really. There is an actual difference.
Right.
But they perceive a difference that they can't actually see so that they don't seem dumb.
Yeah.
Some people have a sharp eye.
Right.
Like, I mean, as a filmmaker, I've had to train my eye to be able to analyze color and analyze definition and things like that.
And we've
But-
had years of different formats to look through, so the look
Yeah.
in the eye changes.
And,
Yeah.
Like some
and I've
people-
seen Jaws enough times in my life. I watched it enough times on DVD that when I got a Blu-ray, and this is an unfair comparison because that Blu-ray was remastered to death and was amazing. But you watch them, I can tell the difference because I remember what it used to look like.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember what things I didn't used to be able to see. I remember when the coloring used to be off because I knew that movie to death.
It's like certain aspects
Right.
of the changes they made to Star Wars. Now, there are some that are fucking glaringly
Yeah,
obvious.
but you're right.
Han
Like if
shot
you,
first.
but if you're sitting across the room from a 40-inch TV, can you tell the difference? Probably not. A 40-inch 4K TV compared to a Blu-ray,
And,
probably not
that's always been my
huge,
thought is that, like,
but-
at what size would you have to have a 4K TV
Right.
for that to make sense? Now, on a projector, on a regular sized movie screen, yes, I'll be able to tell the difference between 1080 and 4K, but 1080 still doesn't look bad when you blow it up and project it on a full size movie screen. It's not
Yeah,
it's
it
not
looks-
bad.
It looks fine.
Yeah.
And so that's why, like, I think people are going to be very slow to upgrade to 4K.
Well, right now
we
it's just
finally
too damn
just got people.
expensive.
We finally just got everybody on the HD train.
Right, yeah.
And of course, it's kind of that. It's that media technology thing of just constantly offering upgrade things so that people will constantly want.
Well,
a
nobody got
TV.
into Blu-ray right away because we had a format war.
and nobody
so.
did 3D.
Yeah.
Nobody did. 3D.
Nobody-
And that
nobody
was,
did
that
3D.
was
I don't
so-
think anybody does 3D. I have a 3D TV and I have 3D Blu-rays, but I'm the only person I know that does. Or
Yeah,
even
what's
gives
wrong
a
with
shit.
you?
Do you
No,
go
I'm
to
just kidding.
Do you go to 3D movies anymore?
Actually, not that often.
I went to Guardians in 3D,
Um,
but I'll only do it in a theater because I've never had an at-home experience. I just don't know if it would necessarily be worth
Mostly
it.
it's to impress the ladies. It's a lie.
The Celtic ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Celtic ladies love their 3D.
Yeah. But mostly it was that when I was going to buy it, it was like $50 more than the comparable non-3D
Totally. Yeah,
TV.
they've
So-
made it such a low barrier.
And I was
entry.
very curious about what video games were like in 3D.
Yeah.
They hurt your brain.
Oh no.
They're really fun, but I can only
but
do
only in
them
20-minute segments.
only in 20-minute segments. So
Yeah.
like and most of them have stopped doing it now. So like the Arkham City game.
Mm-hmm.
So the second one came out in 3D, and that one was really fun, but I could only play for 15, 20 minutes. And then one of the Assassin's Creed also did that. But
Yeah.
both of those series have stopped doing that because nobody gave a shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's too bad because that's where I thought it would be the most interesting. Because for me, I don't know that it's worth the difference in price. Like for a Blu-ray, right? If I'm going to go buy, let's say, the Star Trek Compendium, I don't know that it's worth it for me to pay the extra like $10 to get it in
That's
3D.
why for me it's very selective. I only have
Yeah.
a few, and most of it's the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So like I'm gonna go get Cap 2 on Tuesday, and I'm gonna get the 3D one because fuck it, it's Cap, it's my favorite.
That 3D and the Cap
My-
2 is incredible.
My brother is interesting. He buys all the 3D Blu-rays, does not own a 3D TV. He just doesn't want to have to buy them again. So he's just like looking ahead, and he's like, well, eventually I'm going to own a 3D TV, and I don't want to have to replace all of these, so I'll just go ahead and get them now.
Because they
And I
come
can't.
with
I don't have the
regular
heart to
Blu-ray
tell him
anyway.
like they're going to come out with a 4K, and you're going to have to buy them all again. Like
I remember there was
you're going to buy the White Album 16 times in your life, Jake. Sorry, there's nothing you can do about it.
there was this guy on some Blu-ray forum. It was like 4 or 5 years ago, just kind of as the format was really starting to take off. And he was like, well, will the picture quality be any better if I buy a Blu-ray player and plug it into my standard definition TV? And they were like, maybe a little bit, but why the fuck would you do that? And he's like, well, I'm going to get an HD TV at some point. And they're like, well, why don't you just put that money that you're going to spend on the Blu-ray player towards an HD TV instead of having your priorities all backwards.
And then get a PS3 and just combine it all into one.
Well, exactly,
system.
exactly, yeah.
Or
just
PS4 now, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, but the rationale there is that way he can be buying Blu-rays and watching Blu-rays now, even though he doesn't have the money for the TV, right? So that way his collection
but at the time,
is ahead of the time.
At the time, though, Blu-ray players were like $3 or $4. Like the cheapest ones were still like $200 or $300.
Right.
You would be well on your way to an HD TV, and if you had bought any of the Blu-rays, which at the time were really fucking expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if the ones that weren't expensive because they came in like a pack of 4 were like, Too Fast, Too Furious, and
Blade Trinity.
Right. Yes. Oh my God.
Star Trek Nemesis.
Oh, you also own that Blu-ray collection.
No, but my dad does.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
What
Cool.
else is in real news?
Joan Rivers died.
Joan Rivers passed away.
81 years old.
It was unexpected. It was
Yeah.
She
was like getting her neck pinched or something.
something like
Right?
I don't
Some sort of throat surgery. I don't know if it was plastic surgery or if it was actual like medical surgery.
I
Yeah.
mean, not to speak ill of the I don't know which one it was, but regardless, she had to be put on she had to be put into a medically induced coma as a result of whatever happened.
Yeah.
And so I guess she stopped breathing or something. I don't know the exact full details. Like this just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible shame. She was a very talented comedian. There's obviously some things that in her career that are eyebrow raisers, like her interaction with Johnny Carson and her career on E. I think sometimes, but she was a very funny comedian. And if you watch, there's a Joan Rivers documentary out there, and I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me. But when I find it out, I'll get it. I'll get it to you guys next week. I'll make that what I watch. But she's really funny, and she's a really talented person. Like I think she's gotten the reason she gets bashed a lot is because she's earned a place of respect in people's hearts. So
a piece of work.
A piece of work. That's it. So she will be missed.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So somebody fucking woke up in premium cables this week. Showtime's, I believe it was his. It's the COO of Showtime. At like a conference or whatever, was talking, and he basically said that if they're looking at the fact that there are a lot of people like my parents who own cable, but they don't subscribe to premium cable channels, and they were like, you know what, we as a company need to be smart and forward thinking and evolve to be where our customers need to be. Which that kind of thinking is not what a lot of Hollywood and especially like TV producers think with. So it's really cool. The idea here is that it's possible that in the next year or two we might see Showtime move in a direction where you could subscribe to Showtime online without having even a cable subscription. So that if you wanted to have Showtime shows, or if you wanted to get Showtime shows somehow, you could just do that without like having to jump through all these fucking hoops, or even be tied in any way to Comcast.
That would be preferable for HBO too. If
HBO needs to wake up and do this too.
Yeah,
and they've been like, without saying it, playing with the idea, because like HBO Go is huge, but you have to have HBO to do it. All they have to do is have you not have, like, the service is there in a very Hulu style. All they have to do is start saying, hey, $20 a month, you get HBO Go. Doesn't matter what you do. Like, you just start paying us. Like, they are so close to being direct with the customer, and this will be probably a huge hit for Comcast if they can do that, which I think is a great idea. Those companies are getting a little bit too big.
As a guy who works for Comcast.
Hey, how you doing?
No, I mean, it definitely is one of those things that sometimes keeps me up at night, because as people flee Comcast, my job gets less and less secure.
Right.
But in terms of the way that I think really, I think in terms of the way that consumption of media is evolving, that definitely these new systems, these new systems getting in place is good for the consumer. And I think that mostly because I don't want like my boss to hear this and fire my ass. Probably won't. But I think that the cable providers and things will also try to evolve, because the cord cutting is a huge problem, and I think they'll find interesting. I think everybody involved with production and distribution of broadcast content is going to find interesting new ways to stay relevant in the new media atmosphere. So I think it's good to think forward and to try to make media consumption as simple and streamlined as possible. And I think that eventually everybody's going to get on board with new ways of doing it. I still like linear TV though. I don't know how. I mean, now I have a DVR,
right?
But I still really like. I like just flipping on the TV and then like just being able to go to a random channel or things like that. I like that type of media consumption myself, and I'm glad that there's still enough people out there so that I have a job.
Oh, and there's plenty of them, and the truth is, I would like to be that person too. I just don't have the time anymore between work and the things I watch for this. Like, I'm very particular about what I watch and how I spend my entertainment time.
Make time.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of opportunity where I like sit. I have cable, and it's barely hooked up. Last week we moved in May. Dan has cable because if you bundle it all together, you can get it cheaper. Like we get internet and phone cheaper by bundling it together than if you didn't have the cable. And so they just made that deal for him.
That's why I have a landline that I don't use
like we do
often.
too, and we don't use it. And we just hooked it up last week. I don't even know that it's hooked up right because we don't turn it on, which I know that's horrible. But the truth is, like, the sort of distance between the customers and traditional cable is just getting a little bit larger. And it's interesting because I've been griping for weeks, more mourning than anything else, about the fact that they took The Legend of Korra off of Nickelodeon and put it so it's only distributing online.
That was such a weird move.
Yeah,
but some of it is.
But it's actually kind of brilliant because, like, the truth is what it's doing is it's saying, like, okay, this weird show that actually doesn't fit on Nickelodeon, right? Like, they beheaded someone in the finale of this season. Spoilers, sorry. But, like, there's some gruesome shit in the finale of this most recent season. It's not really a kid show anymore. And the audience for it is not an audience that's flipping around and channel surfing Nickelodeon. So the truth is that they just sort of decided to go direct to that consumer,
right?
And say, like, look, if we put this online, we can get it to them, and let's see if it makes money that way. If the truth is, Comcast, whether they're at this table or not, Comcast kind of needs to take a lesson from that and go, how do we learn to be a little bit more consumer friendly and say, like, how about we let people choose what channels they want? Or how about we give people an option where they can watch all of their Comcast stuff without necessarily being on their, like, sitting on their couch and watching their TV, and they're doing some of that.
Yeah, and one of the things that they have now, I feel like I'm doing promotions for Comcast. Well, with the X1 television platform, no, but with the X1 television platform that they have. But it's actually something that, like, and it's also them moving in that right direction as well, which makes me happy because then I won't get fired. I like my job.
It's and that also works for, like, films like the one we saw tonight, like Life of Crime,
absolutely.
like that VOD.
It's the same idea.
It's the direct to the consumer, like to the people who want to see that niche film or that film with this particular actor that they like, because it does. A star doesn't sell a movie anymore, really. I don't feel like Angelina Jolie may be one of the few people who could still sell a movie, or Brad Pitt or something like that. But I don't know.
And I don't know what the, like, DirecTV and Dish things look like, or obviously any of the other cable providers like Time Warner. But it's that on the on-demand idea, and the on-demand idea with that also with the new stuff that Comcast doing is also going over to mobile platforms. So so tablets and phones and stuff can also access that stuff, which I think is great.
Yeah.
It's not how I get my content, but I also know people my age, and I definitely, I know some people that are like, 18 or so, and man, the way they get their content is so different and weird. Like, they'll basically just, instead of, like, listening to music, they'll just load the YouTube video and then just like plug it in, and that's like, but they'll do that for like an entire, like, hour of listening to music, whereas I would be like, well, fuck that, I'm just gonna get on iTunes and download it or have the CD.
They just want instant access, though. They want instant access right away. Like, I do that too. I'll just go onto YouTube and just get the song sometimes directly if I'm really wanting to listen to that song right away.
The thing that's going to be interesting is, and this thing with Showtime is hopefully a sign of them at least testing it, is whoever does it first has got to be curious enough and brave enough to test the waters and see what people will pay for. Because I'll tell you right now, I will absolutely pay for the content, and I will probably pay for it enough that if everybody paid like I pay, you wouldn't need commercials. Because the problem is that what they're doing doesn't actually make money. So, like, if you put it on the internet, and you put it on the internet for free to some degree, but you put ads around it, you're really probably not going to make much money on that.
That defeats the
because
purpose
nobody-
of premium channel.
Well, for Showtime, that for one, absolutely. But also, like, Hulu died when they went to Hulu Plus. Well, at least for me, when they went to Hulu Plus, and I was suddenly going to be paying for also having commercials, and also the my generation and the generation after me doesn't understand commercials. I don't think. At least for me and my friends, like, I don't watch commercials. Ads on the internet don't inspire me to buy things. Like, I understand them and I see them from afar and I go, well, that's nice, but you're not making any money on me. So you might as well just take my money and let me buy the content I want.
I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and I think we're kind of actually on the verge a little bit of a media bubble. Right now there's enough people consuming media in the old fashion, and there's enough of a back catalog that the new media, things like Netflix, Hulu, things like that have older TV shows, older movies, things like that, are able to... You can make the business model work. Mm-hmm. But eventually people are going to get sick of watching Cheers for the 1,000th time. I mean, I probably won't because I fucking love Cheers.
Hell yeah.
How dare you even
where
make
everybody
that up as
goes.
a possibility? Everybody loves the fuck out of Cheers.
What if, like, Cheers is the only thing that you can watch?
What if Cheers is the only show ever?
But eventually...
What a wonderful world.
But eventually there's going to be a bubble where there's not enough people consuming, there's not enough people feeding into the traditional revenue streams of media. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that goes for music, TV, and movies. Mm-hmm. And then once you get to that point, there's going to be a giant bubble where everybody's like, well, where everybody's demanding new content, but nobody's paying enough for it. There's not enough money for new content. Now, like, Netflix is making new TV series, but it's such a small part of what they do.
Right.
It's not, most of their revenue streams comes from, it's like, oh, look at all of these movies that we have. But if box office numbers continue to dwindle, if record sales continue to dwindle, and believe me, that can be a tough thing to try to get people to actually buy your CD.
Yeah.
If that keeps happening, we're going to be on the verge of this point where, like, the producers, the people that are making the content, are not going to be making enough money to be able to produce at least the level of content that we want, the level of content that we are used to and expect. So.
I would just offer that I you're right. It's the scariest thing happening in Hollywood that no one wants to talk about. But I honestly think that the solution is, because people used to talk about this back, like, when I was a poor student and would torrent things because I didn't have any money, and I was like, well, if I want to watch this show, I can't own HBO, but I want to watch fucking whatever was on HBO at the time, True Blood, for whatever. Season 1 was good, okay? So I want to watch True Blood, so I was torrenting it because I was like, well, I don't have the money to do it, and they're not making money on me anyway. But there were people who, once they get to that point where they have, like, a career and a job, and then it's like, okay, my time and the effort it takes for me to go find this stuff illegally on the internet, I could just easily spend the money and buy the stuff because I have money now. Those people will pay for the content if you just give it to them. The problem is all of the hoops that people have to jump through. This week we haven't talked about it yet, but this week we watched Life of Crime, which is this little indie movie that it's in sort of the indie circle right now, so it's in LA and it's in New York, but it's not everywhere yet. You can try to get it to come to your town, but the easiest thing you can do right now is it's on demand. So you can go on Amazon or wherever and rent it. But I ended up renting it twice because I had a hell of a time, like, renting it and also getting it on the TV that I wanted to watch it on with the device I wanted to watch it on.
And stay tuned for that little story when we review Life of Crime.
Yeah. There's too many hoops to jump through. Whereas if you just gave me a thing where it was like, hey, you want to have all of this content from AMC, give us $5 a month and you get AMC, I'd probably do that. And I'd probably end up paying more for cable than I do now.
And that's why
I'd get what I want.
Yeah, I like the idea of the a la carte cable package. I think that would be good. I mean, basically, if a TV channel is 95% reality TV, I don't want it.
Right.
And so I don't really need to pay for it. There are a lot of channels but I mean, I don't know how easy it would be to create an a la carte system where by taking out the channels I don't want, I would effectively be paying less.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know if that's that's something that all of the big shots at the cable and satellite companies have to kind of figure out.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I think it's a good idea, and I think it could be a good way to implement it. I mean, that's why once again, I don't want to sound like I'm just some Comcast whore, but I like my X1 box because I can do that. I mean, things like Snowpiercer, for example, was available on demand while it was running in theaters, and also the X1 box can run Netflix and a lot of other stuff. Usually, I run that through my PlayStation just because I already have my account info saved.
Right. Yeah.
But so I think that they're making some moves. There's going to be a lot of work to do before that gets finished.
It's going to be really interesting. And this is just one more little step in the road. Another step in the road, for some other completely different thing, is that AMC has ordered a pilot for a second Walking Dead series. So it's sort of like a spin-off
Walking
series.
Deadier?
Yeah. Walking Dead in the South. Or,
Whoa.
Well, no, that one's already in the South. So it's
In
like
the North.
Walking Dead Canada.
Well,
It's walking-ier than before.
Yeah.
Walking Dead, the Union Edition.
David Erickson is the showrunner. He and Robert Kirkman wrote the first episode, and then the regular producers are producing it as well. No real idea of what the show is. It's just like, well, it's in the larger epic Walking Dead narrative. It's going to make a lot of money, is what it is.
It's just like Better Call Saul.
Yeah. Hopefully
Which aren't those in the same universe? I'd heard this giant fan theory that Breaking Bad and Walking Dead were all in the same universe because there was, I kind of checked out of Walking Dead like a season ago, not going to lie.
I kind of did too.
But but I heard that there was a thing where they found the blue meth.
Mm-hmm.
And I also heard that in the finale of Breaking Bad, in the final scene, I won't tell you what happens because I guess we're still in the spoiler window for that one. So, but supposedly there's some sort of news headline that you have to be watching the HD version very closely and maybe even digitally zoom it in. But hey, some of us nerds have the time to do that and whatever.
But then it says something about there being zombies in
said something
Atlanta
about that. Something about something that was related to the Walking.
I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah.
There was a study this week that said that if you watch Michael Bay movies, you are fat.
This
see
was
this?
only for the island, though.
I know.
As opposed to
It's a
watching
really
Charlie
dumb-
Rose. I didn't understand the point of this study.
It's a fucking college psych study. It's really dumb.
And Slash Film picked it
I
up
should
because they were
never
like,
have watched the first two Transformers movies. I'm never going to get that weight
I
loss.
know. Basically, the test they did was they had 3 different rooms and different people in each room, and the people in a room where they were watching the island with the sound on ate more of the snacks in that room than the people in the room with the island with the sound off, and the people in the room watching Charlie Rose
with the sound on.
With the sound on. So the idea there is that in this weird universe where your only 3 options are Charlie Rose, no sound, and the island,
I choose death.
If you sit down and watch the island, you're probably going to want a snack while you watch it. I don't know that says something about all Michael Bay films, or even that it says something about big blockbusters as a whole. It might say something about the fact that we have been bred as film goers to feel like if we go to a movie or we're watching a movie, we should be eating something at the same time, whereas Charlie Rose, we probably don't.
Yeah, I think it's probably something a little bit more like that. I mean,
you'd think I'd been in a college course about psych.
It's also one of those things. It's just, I don't know. I see all these weird studies that are just kind of like pseudoscientific crap. And it's just like, why are we doing? I mean,
it's stupid as shit.
It's what it is. Now here's the big news of the week.
The big news of the week is you seem really excited. I didn't
Yes,
expect you to be
I
so
am.
excited about the
Yes,
fact
I
that they
am.
are going to make a Boondock Saints 3.
No,
That's
no.
not. Oh, that's not what
That's
you were
not
excited
the
about.
news. No, but I
Why
guess
couldn't
I'm
they have
excited.
just left it at the one really good movie?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with
I
you on that
agree.
one.
I know why.
I
Because
liked
Troy
one
Duffy's
scene
a
of the
hack and an
sequel.
asshole.
Yeah.
I love one scene of the sequel where Willem Dafoe's character finally appears and he goes, "You'll scan away the fish."
Yeah.
But no, the big news.
No. The big news is Dwayne The Rock Johnson is going to play Black Adam in Shazam.
Yes.
I was kind of hoping that he would just be Shazam.
I know.
But Black Adam is still really cool.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I mean, and it's going to be awesome. He's going to kill it. I
So-
think he's going to kill it.
This is. I'll be totally honest. This is the most interesting DC news I think I've heard in 5 years. This to me is maybe the one chance they have at making a DC universe because the fucking Superman movie's not it.
The Batman v Superman.
Whether that even if that movie is good, that's not going to be enough to launch.
You know what
a
I
cool
think
universe.
is the real chance for the DC universe? I mean, I think the Shazam movie definitely has some promise.
Because it's weird. It's not what people expect. Nobody knows. It's just like Iron Man, right? Like
Right.
nobody knows this
You know
character.
what else fits into that category, and that I'm really excited about the casting is Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
You think? You think that Aquaman's going to be it?
I think that Aquaman could be the surprise that DC needs. Superman and Batman are always going to sell tickets, even if the movie sucks.
They need to inject new blood. They need
But-
to try. They tried it with Green Lantern, and it didn't work because of obvious reasons. But there's
it's
no
just-
reason that you can't take a character like you said, the Iron Man type of vibe, and build on it. And I
C-lister.
think Shazam is a perfect example of what you can do.
Yeah, I think Shazam is the reason I say that Aquaman's
Aquaman's just got such a
is because
stigma.
Aquaman has a stigma, and I think when you blow that stigma out of the water, because it's clear
Out of
that
the water.
oh, it's clear that what they're doing is they're going for like Aquaman as like badass King of Atlantis. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever watched the Justice League Unlimited.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, the Justice League Unlimited. Well,
The cartoon show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the first season of that.
They made
And they made Aquaman a badass dude. In this one, he wasn't like because in some iterations he's a surface dweller who gains the power to communicate
Control
and becomes
dolphins.
King of Atlantis.
Yeah.
In this one, he's a little bit more like Prince Namor from the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And he just is the King of Atlantis. But what happens is that basically, like, in order to save his son in this one, daring sequence, he has to chop his own fucking arm off. And he does that. And so he walks around the rest of the show, instead of having one of his kind of forearm and hand,
passes
he's got like this harpoon hook thing.
Yeah,
and
that's
it
pretty cool.
is really cool. And that's why, like, if you're curious about what I think they're gonna do with Aquaman, you should go watch that story arc. It's the Justice League cartoon from like 2001, 2002, and it's like 3 or 4 episodes into the first season, and it is so badass. If they harness that using Jason Momoa as Aquaman, I think it's a surefire hit. It's going to surprise the shit out of everyone.
They've got to pull it off well enough then in the short amount of time he's going to be in that movie to justify a $200 million sequel then. Like, that's the issue.
It could just be like
if-
a Hawkeye character. What Marvel is currently doing with Hulk,
if they just
not
drop,
what they should be doing with Hulk.
yeah, if they just drop Wonder Woman and Aquaman, who are the two characters I will be most interested. Well, one of them. Now after that argument, the now two characters I would be most interested in a Superman Batman movie.
Thank you.
If they just drop them in at the end as like, hey, we're here too, guys. Those characters won't get a sequel. Like what they'll do is they will hopefully make that movie be successful, and then they will have a sequel called the Justice League,
Right.
which is why they're calling it Dawn of Justice.
My guess is that what they're probably going to do, I think, is they're going to, I bet they're going to try to wrap Aquaman into sort of the origin story or whatever piece of the origin story we're going to get for Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So Wonder Woman's going to be a much bigger character in that, and my guess is that Aquaman, because there's always just a lot of play between the Atlanteans and the Amazonians. I don't know why that spaced my mind for a
Yeah.
second. But there's always a lot of interaction. That's why, like, Flashpoint Paradox was, like, the coolest fucking thing ever. but there's always a lot of interaction. So I think that's going to be. I think that's gonna kind of be the thing, and then with Justice League, they'll be able to expand on that a little more, and hopefully bring us in some other characters like Martian Manhunter and stuff. But
just as long as we can kick David S. Goyer out of the whole situation, then we'll get a Martian Manhunter.
does he not like Martian Manhunter?
He says that it's a useless character, which means that he's never really read a comic book in his life. Because Martian Manhunter's badass.
Okay, that right there. I mean, does anybody really think that they're going to make a sequel to Superman versus Batman?
Well, I mean, do I think that the
why don't we
Justice League
wait
movie
till
is going to happen?
2015 and find out?
Are you asking me if I think that is the Justice League movie going to happen?
Yes.
I think almost definitely.
Because they're just so invested in it that even if even if Batman versus Superman sucks,
how much is the
critically,
current budget?
I think so.
Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. How
it's
much
probably
is that current budget?
Probably about 200 mil.
Yeah,
200 mil.
It's probably higher. It's got to be 290. Or
I mean,
Really,
I
you think
don't.
it's pushing
I
3?
don't know if
I think it's probably pushing 3.
I mean, Man of Steel did solid enough numbers to say that this could work.
Yeah.
But they have to rework a lot of stuff.
It's an action movie. Like
Yeah.
It's a.
The problem is that they didn't. I feel like they didn't really do Man of Steel in a fashion, because from Iron Man 1, you knew that they were at least wanting to do Avengers.
Right.
Like that was clear, obviously, with the after credit scene. With Man of Steel, I think they were, well, for one thing, I think that they thought that Green Lantern was going to be the start of a proper DC cinematic universe.
Oh, they definitely thought
and so
Which
with Man
was
of
the right way
Steel,
to
I
do
think
it. They
they
just
just
fucked it
didn't
up.
know if they were going to have it again, if it was going to be the thing.
that. Well, and they had to make sure that Superman still sold. Like,
Yeah.
because the last time they tried to do it in 2006, it utterly failed.
Well, that was because they tried to rehash a series that was already outdated. I mean,
that
movie
and
was
it's emo not emo Spider-Man, Evo Superman.
yeah.
There's
it
emo
was-
Spider-Man and emo Superman out there.
There's some things that I wonder what the people were thinking. There are times when I see a movie and it's not good, but I'm like, okay, I get what they were trying to do, and it just fell a little flat.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Sometimes I'm just, like Superman Returns. I was like, Bryan Singer, what the fuck were you thinking?
He was busy directing King Kong. Go watch the special features on Superman Returns. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that those characters are pretty fucking lame. And Superman specifically. Batman, cool. But Superman, pretty fucking lame. And
Superman works well, I think, and it's the thing that always, because I'm not a Superman hater, but I'm not a huge fan. Superman works amazing as an idea.
yeah.
And so the idea of Superman, so like tackling the character as like the philosophy of like this man who is has virtually limitless power. What do you do with that? And I think that's the potential we have in Dawn of Justice.
Yeah.
Is that if they do that, and it's not just like, well, I'm Batman and you're Superman and I should fight you, then I think we're going to be okay. I think it's going to be a good movie.
Right.
If it tackles the idea like they did in Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, which I think they're going to be leaning pretty heavily on for this next one, at least what we saw from the leaked Comic-Con footage.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty apparent.
I think the length of the ears on the Batman costume tell you exactly what Bryan Singer was, or what Zack Snyder was looking at.
And then that
It's like, don't bring Bryan Singer back into these
that,
movies.
that leaked teaser had Batman in what at least very much appears to be
The Dark Knight
the
Returns
Dark Knight
suit.
Returns. I'm gonna fucking fight Superman. But the thing that sucks is that they announced that they're not gonna be bringing Arrow and Flash, or at least TV Arrow and Flash, in for the movie. How do you defeat Superman if you don't have Oliver Queen?
I heard that they're going to have Flash. They're going to have their own Flash in a Flash Green Lantern team up movie. And I don't,
That does not sound good.
But the Flash and Arrow from the TV show are their own universe.
In the
Like,
This
TV.
is so
they're not trying
stupid.
I know they're not making the right decisions.
DC needs to go spend money on ideas that were cool. They should have made Green Arrow. They should have made Green Arrow Max like 8 years ago,
Right.
which is the one where Green Arrow is in prison and he's just breaking out of prison, and you don't have to explain who the fuck Green Arrow is. He's just fucking Green Arrow. He shoots people in the face with arrows, and he breaks out of prison for some goddamn reason.
I
really think that DC
Well, at
is
least
missing.
it's different.
Yeah,
I think that
it would
DC is just missing a massive opportunity by not synergizing their movie and TV universes that they're working on, especially because the Arrow TV show is one of the best things that DC has ever done.
Yeah.
And so not capitalizing that and also bringing, let's not lie, Stephen Amell is dreamy and all the, a lot of the teen girls are swooning.
Yeah.
Why not take that advantage that you have in the demographic that the CW works on building, but has also built a good rapport with, the more mainstream nerds like us, because that show is just fucking cool.
Because they're not Marvel.
I guess, but whoever's making these decisions, they should pay me half the amount, and I'll make them twice as much money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So says the rest of the internet. But
yeah, but I'm the right one. The rest of the internet's wrong. They can go fuck off.
Yep. Cool. Hey, Shaughnessy, before we go, do you mind sticking around for one more segment and doing a comic book corner with us?
Sure.
What's up, nerds? It's the Comics Corner. So you weren't expecting this, but you're a guy who reads comic books. Why don't you tell us about one of your favorite comics? What's one out there that somebody who's maybe not into comics, a book that they could jump onto and maybe...
If you could name the one comic book that changed your life.
Okay, it doesn't have to be that serious. That's pretty hardcore.
That's a tough call because there's two that I'd like to talk about. But
do them both.
Okay. One of them is a series that I'm reading right now. My friend Brandon recommended it to me. It's a Vertigo series called Preacher.
Oh shit! Yeah,
Preacher is good.
And I just started reading the first. I'm in the middle of the first volume, and it is spectacular.
Yeah,
the art style is amazing. The storyline's very interesting. It's kind of like if you took some of the base elements of what Todd McFarlane was probably thinking about when he created Spawn.
Yeah.
And you take it to just a different level.
Yeah.
More darker realm.
It's a British guy writing about westerns and God.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really understand either of those, but it's fucking cool.
Yeah, and it's really spectacular. I'm loving reading it. In fact, that is what I'm going to do when I go home. I'm probably going to
finish up that Preacher.
I would love to have you back someday when you're done with it, because you have no idea what's coming your way.
Man, I know I have no. Basically where I'm at right now, 30 people just got their fucking heads blown off.
Yep.
And I can't wait to read more.
Man, oh god, yeah, that's a really, really great book.
The other one that I would like to bring up was a limited series, and it's been a little bit hard. I've been trying to track down I bought ebook copies of them, but it's been hard to track down the physical copies because I'm a bit of a collector. Not like
right.
I've only got 1.5 long boxes. I'm not big time here.
Yeah,
but it was and I think it was from 2003 or 2004, I think. I could be wrong I could be off by a few years, but it was a Justice League Avengers crossover.
Oh yeah.
It was like a 5-part limited series. Have you read it?
No.
I've
heard about it, yeah.
It is incredible. It was a really cool way of tying both of the universes together, basically by having this trans-dimensional being who was basically, because he was trying to gather these artifacts so that he could rematerialize. And so he tasks the Justice League with going over into the Marvel universe and collecting these 5 artifacts of power. And he tasks the Avengers with going into the DC universe and collecting these 5 articles of power. And so, and they're artifacts that they're things like the Infinity Gauntlet is one of them, and I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. I think the Cosmic Cube. And so, but there are a few really cool scenes, and one of them is Captain America and Batman are fighting each other on this rooftop, and they're the first people to realize that they're being fucking stupid, and realizing that they should team up instead of just wailing on each other because something is clearly not right. And that one's really cool, and I won't tell you exactly the context of it, but I'll just say that the cover for the 5th and final issue of this limited series is Superman holding Cap's shield and Mjolnir. So, that is one that just if you just want to just nerdgasm until, you're dead on the couch.
Yeah.
You got to read those ones. It's an absolutely amazing limited series. I love it.
That's really cool.
That's
well,
awesome.
Here, I will hopefully give you a hint. If you go to Colorado Coins Cards and Comics up in Arvada, they've got a really good collection of a lot of those old comics, and they're really well priced. you might be able to help yourself find some of those old issues there. Plus, anybody else who's listening who, if you have not read Preacher, I mean, we've talked about it before. Dude, shit is great. And before Seth Rogen makes whatever thing he's making, you should check that out. And if you go to Coins Cards, you can get any of those trades for 20% off, which is just stupid. Like, why buy them anywhere
Go
else?
to Andrew. He hooks you.
Yeah, Andrew is fantastic. Tell him that the Real Nerd sent you. And Sean, thanks for helping us with that ad.
Thanks for having me on the show. I've been
Thank
loving
you.
it.
Oh.
So before you go, Shaughnessy, tell us where we can find out about your event, where we can go for Stubby Shillelaghs again.
Okay, so you can go to thestubbies.net. That's TheStubbies.net. We usually have an updated events calendar on there. The best place to follow us is Facebook because we update it the most because it's the easiest. So if you type in The Stubby, Stubby, you'll probably find us. If not, Shillelaghs is spelled Shillelaghs. The charity event is September 20th from 7 to 9 at the Crest Theater in Greeley. Entry is free with a suggested $5 donation, and there's going to be so much fun stuff going on there. There's going to be cosplayers, raffles, and of course there's going to be booze there because they have a bar.
Awesome.
And it's a really cool little
we
theater.
can get the single on iTunes and places like that now.
Yep, you can find it pretty much anywhere you can find music. Both
Awesome.
as a and we'll be donating an equal amount if you buy the. We'll be donating the same amount whether you buy the single or whether you buy the album. So
Excellent.
we're still donating if you buy the full album. We're just also donating if you buy just Gotham's Finest. So.
Cool.
Excellent.
Okay.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
coming on the
much,
show.
Shaughnessy.
Thanks for having me on the show.
All right. Well, now that they're taking off, let's do what we've been watching.
Okay.
So, this is the stuff we've been watching.
James, what did you watch this week?
I saw a couple of things. The first thing I want to talk about is I got a chance to see Double Indemnity for the first time.
Double Indemnity.
Yeah, you know this, but this year one of the things I've been doing is going through sort of my list of shame and trying to cross stuff off finally. And when I do it, I buy a Blu-ray of it and really give it its due. And Double Indemnity was one that I'd had on the list, and then a couple weeks ago we saw a trailer for it at the Alamo. Or actually, we saw a trailer before Sin City at the Alamo, and you were talking about it, and I was like, okay, I gotta take the time and watch that. So I rented it, or I bought it, and it's interesting.
Did you get the 2-disc Universal Legacy Series edition?
No, I didn't see that one. Usually, what I'm trying to do is get the one that I got is it's in like a really nice case. So I just assumed it was the nicest version.
Is it
out there.
Blu-ray?
Yeah, it's in a Blu-ray. It got like a little book with it. It's got an envelope with it with some pictures, and then it goes into a sleeve. But the actual DVD itself is just like a fairly normal DVD.
Okay.
But it's got a whole lot of special features on it. It's pretty cool. It's a good one. Overall, like I really like Double Indemnity, and it is obviously if you haven't seen it, basically it's sort of one of the early.
It's one of the top.
Early.
It's one of the noir films.
Yeah. It really sort of set the stage for that whole genre because basically it starts off with this guy who he's clearly distressed in some way. Walter Neff, and he's basically telling the story of why he killed this person, and then he flashes back and basically he's an insurance salesman. He meets this guy's wife, and she basically tells him, who's played by Barbara Stanwyck, and she basically tells him, like, she sort of, like, lures him into feeling like the two of them are in this together, and that what they should do is get an insurance policy out, an accident policy out on her husband, and then maybe he has an accident and dies.
Yep. And her husband, played by Edward G. Robinson,
right,
who is great in the film. I haven't seen Double Indemnity in a while, but I remember him being fantastic in it. Fred McMurray plays Walter Neff, and Barbara Stanwyck, obviously the wife.
Yeah.
Did you you know how Walter lights the cigarette by striking it with his finger?
Uh-huh.
We did an homage to that in Twombly. In the scene where after you see that Twombly has the gun, we cut to the bar, and Scott Schulte, the editor of Guns, Drugs, and Synergy. When we were in pre-production on Synergy, because I was producing it, I was like, I want you to be in my black and white movie. And he's like, okay, can I light a cigarette like the guy Walter Neff in Double Indemnity? And I said, if you can light a cigarette with your thumb and you could do it the first time on the first take, I will give you $500. What do you think he did?
Did he do it?
On set, first
Holy
try.
shit.
Because he said I had been practicing, and I'm like, well, that's fine. I just don't have $500 to give you. I can't believe you believed me.
During the movie,
I reneged on a set bet.
during the movie, I went online and started like watching videos on how you do that. All the matches I have, none of them are strike
away.
anywhere.
Yeah, you need to strike anywhere,
Yeah.
strike away match. It's
Yeah.
really like, and we did 2 takes on it, but like he did it on the first try, and I was like, this is just so like we're right back in that era, and like, and I'm sure I don't know how many takes Fred McMurray had to do, or he's just like, no, come on, give it to me.
Oh, it's such a cool little thing.
Edward G. Robinson going like, you're doing it wrong, see?
Yeah. It was though. I was talking to a friend of mine at work though, and we were talking about how sometimes you'll watch an old movie and like you like it, you appreciate it, but when it's all said and done, you don't really love it. Like there's this sort of disappointment that can come with watching a classic many years later that you've never seen. And I did sort of feel that with this one. Like this movie didn't end in a way that made me so excited the way that like Rebecca did or one of those. Because I think in this case it's because I didn't actually like any of these people. Like Walter, it's a tragic story, but it's not one that sticks with me because I don't like love those characters. There really isn't a villain. Like your main characters are your villains, and those villains aren't so like. Part of why I love Rebecca is that Rebecca as a villain is so menacing and brilliant. And there isn't a villain like that to cling on to, nor is there like a hero that I really love.
There's nobody to counteract it.
Yeah,
you know, it's funny.
But it's a cool movie.
If you watch the man who wasn't there,
Mm-hmm.
that's a more sympathetic version of Double Indemnity in some ways.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Or it feels like it. It's not the same story,
Right.
Or it's not the same like archetypes, but it has the same feel that you're talking about.
Yeah.
But you have a character who's not sympathetic so much as like he's more relatable than everybody else. Like, or Fargo. Fargo's another good example.
Yeah.
You don't really have any sympathy for William H. Macy's character, even though he is very pathetic.
Yeah. Well, and he's just really entertaining.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know that Neff is
Fred
like he's
McMurray.
cool.
Yeah.
But he's not. He doesn't steal scenes the way that William H. Macy does in that one.
That's true.
I bet at the time he did. But
Well, yeah.
but that's the thing. I was like,
He's the
sometimes when
William
you go
H. Macy
back-
of his day.
Yeah, like sometimes when you go back to older movies, some of the things that were great about them just don't strike the way. And it's not any fault of the movie. It's just that you end up sort of being like, oh, yeah, it was good.
Right.
So yeah, that was cool. The other thing I want to talk about is I watched Noah this week.
Darren Aronofsky's Noah.
Hey, Jinx, you and me a Coke.
Yeah, damn it. I have a Mountain Dew in my hand.
Yeah, so Darren Aronofsky's Noah. Watched this with my folks, which was very interesting. This was a movie that like I was really curious about. I'd heard about the comic. I'd heard about like, oh, there's giants and shit in the comic, and I was like, okay, that's weird.
So
wanna
it's
see it.
based on a comic adaptation of the Noah story.
So no, what it is he wanted to make this movie years ago before he had money, but of course he didn't have money and couldn't get anybody to make it. So he made a comic. This is the way the story was told to me. So maybe I'm wrong, but so he went and took the script and turned it into a comic, and they published a comic of it for a while. And then years later, but it was still something that like nagged at him. He still liked the story a lot, and so then when he got the chance, he decided to make a movie of it. And basically, all right, so I really like this movie. And
How
stuck
long
with
is
me.
it? I haven't seen it, and I love Darren
It's
Aronofsky,
long.
but it's long.
It's pretty long.
Okay, that's good. That's a Bible epic should be long.
Yeah. So here's what's interesting. So it's got rock giants in it.
That was never in the Bible, to my knowledge.
No,
but
it's,
sounds awesome.
It's them it's their interpretation of something, and that's the thing that like I had to tell my parents, and I would tell anybody who sees this movie like this is their interpretation of a story that.
Now, Mom, before you watch this movie, I don't hate God.
So okay, no, there's two things about the story of Noah. One is it's very short, and two is it's not about Noah. The interesting character and the main character of the story of Noah is God, who goes from being wrathful to at the end with the rainbow being sort of merciful.
Mm-hmm.
And that story is what's interesting about the story of Noah. And so what they did here was they took that character arc and gave it to Noah. It's a rough movie to watch. there's a lot of like visual metaphors. There's a lot of things. If you've seen The Fountain and you like The Fountain, then you might like this movie because there's just weird shit you don't know what's going on all the time, or what it really means. But basically, starts off Noah's wandering through the desert with his family, and some rock giant angels come to him and bring him to his grandfather, and he starts building an ark because it's going to rain and everybody's going to get killed. And the turn comes when so his one son, his oldest son, has sort of a wife or a girlfriend that they found early in the movie, and the two of them are going to get married. Yeah, they're going to get married, and his other two sons are like, well, there's nobody for us. Like, if our little family gets on this boat, like, how are we going to repopulate the earth? And so Noah goes into town basically to find some women for his sons. And what he sees there is this pretty horrific scene where, like, people are kidnapping women and giving them to the authorities and trading them for meat, and, like, it's just horrible. And so at that point there is this moment where he turns and he goes back and he says, you know what? Because the other thing is that his oldest son's wife is barren.
Okay.
So they're really like, dude, if we do this, like, we can't repopulate the earth. So he goes back to the boat and he goes, you know what? We're fucked. And putting humanity on the earth was the worst decision that God ever made. So we are going to get wiped out, and we're all going to die with us. Like, we're going to be the end. So we're going to make sure that the animals get to the other side, but we're done. And he gets, I think that tension and that Noah that they are portraying, they put that person in a very rough place and make him make some very rough decisions. That, of course, none of that is in the Bible at all, but it doesn't matter to me because I think that story is really interesting.
Right.
And then, of course, he has to learn some lessons, but it's I think it's really interesting.
And there's giant rock monsters in there, apparently.
Yep, and there's giant rock monsters. I think it's pretty cool. I definitely think it's worth checking out. Even as long as it is, like, it's an interesting take on that story. It stuck with me. It was a movie that I had to think about, that I had to wrestle with for a while. And anytime a movie does that with me, I'm interested.
Did you wish that you had seen it like on an IMAX? Because I know it got a big IMAX release and stuff like that. So was it like a movie that would have been good to watch on the big screen, like a Ten Commandments or?
It's definitely beautiful. I don't know that it matters that much, though.
Okay.
Like what's important to me is this character and the story arc that they're telling. So the rest of it, like, as cool as it is visually, I don't know that I would have to see it that way. But
right on.
Yeah.
Cool. Right on.
Cool.
What did I watch this week?
Yeah, what did you watch this week?
Wow. I went through a bunch of stuff. I actually went through some old movies myself. I watched the original House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price. And right from the get-go, it starts off very, very 60s with a floating head coming out going like, everybody's going to die tonight.
That's
and
weird.
then it just goes into this really weird haunted house story where Vincent Price plays a millionaire who holds a party. And if they can survive the night in the haunted mansion, they win $10,000. Of course, everything starts going wrong in the mansion. It's a very William Castle movie, and the reason I say that, because it's directed by William Castle, the king of the gimmicks in old horror Hollywood. Like, he did The Tingler, and they would have the things at the bottom of the seat that would, friddle around on your feet, and so then that way you're, like, interacting with the movie. Or, like, he did some movies where, like, you'd be like, he'd tell the audience to scream and stuff like that, get them involved. And I cannot remember the gimmick for House on Haunted Hill, but I can see the areas where it would be kind of gimmicky. Like, he could have skeletons flying out across a theater and whatnot to scare the shit out of people. So to watch it you have to watch it with that in mind sometimes. I think with some movies you have to watch them in the context of how they were released. Like Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of works that way, where you should watch it with an audience. So to watch this film, like, you had to kind of imagine the gimmicks coming at you, but even without it, it's a solid little horror story, like, for its time. And I watched it in color, which was kind of weird. So because it was the only version available on Hulu, and it's the only access that I had at that time because I was watching it before a meeting.
Yeah.
And then I watched two other things. I watched The Shawshank Redemption, which
It's great.
I dare you to find a more perfect film in many, many ways.
There's a reason why it's the number one on IMDb. Like it is.
Nobody hates that
It's
movie.
really tight. Yeah.
You can't find any problem with it. And I didn't realize this before, but I'm sure I'm like really slow on this gravy train, but you don't really know what Red did to go to Shawshank.
Nope.
You don't really know. And so I didn't look at it with that in mind. I knew that he probably committed murder or something like that, or something very egregious.
Yeah.
But watching it with not knowing what he was committed for really gave me a different view on that film, I guess I should say, where I thought about it not as just Andy Dufresne's redemption, but also Red's redemption.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets it in the form of Andy Dufresne. Because Andy Dufresne as a character seems very... He knows how to make every right decision.
Yeah.
Even if it's not to his benefit, he knows he's the most morally right character in any movie that I've ever seen.
Well, and you know, if you've ever had a creative writing class or just an English class in general, you know one thing, and that is that because Red narrates the movie has to be about Red. So as interesting as Dufresne's like story is, the
It's
truth
Red's
is,
story.
It's Red's character arc that is actually what we are left with.
Right.
It's that idea that through meeting Dufresne, that's really why Red eventually gets parole and gets saved from what Brooks was damned to.
Right.
Like the reason that he doesn't end up with Brooks' life is because of Dufresne.
Right, and James Whitmore as Brooks, by the way, that's
awesome.
that's a great performance.
Yeah.
Like one of the best. That is one of the best supporting actor kind of moments like that got ignored from an Oscar kind of campaign. One of the things I also love about this film, like this is before the digital era, so there's all the sweeping shots and all the exterior shots, the wide shots have real people in them. I love seeing that. I hate seeing digitalized people in the backgrounds of stuff to create a bigger space. There's like all the prisoners are actually there, and the shots of it are so sweeping and so epic. It almost seems like they were making a 60s style epic about prison. Because if you watch most films about prison, they're pretty gritty, grimy, to the wall.
Claustrophobic
Yeah,
and-
they're not sweeping epics. They don't try to it's not glamorizing, it's Hollywoodizing the prison. That's the one thing that Shawshank does. Like it kind of makes it a Hollywood affair.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, because it is if you put that and Green Mile next to each other, for obvious reasons, they are two very differently shot movies. Like you say the same director makes two movies in a jail, and you think like, oh, well, they're going to feel similar. No,
No, they don't.
It feels more. It's shot more like Last Castle, where you're supposed to get out of the prison.
right. And it gives you the hope that you're going to get out of the prison because we're over it, because we're
the
not
prison
feeling
gets to be-
confined and claustrophobic.
The prison gets to be a part of the rest of the world, rather than like in the Green Mile or most prison movies where the prison is the world. So yeah, no, it's great.
Right. And then the last thing I saw is I went to Riff Tracks Live Godzilla.
Oh wow, it's funny because I was going to bring that up because when you were talking about the other movie being in black and white, every time that I get a chance to see Plan 9 from Outer Space, which I've never seen in theaters, it's always colorized, and I refuse to see it that way.
Okay, I'm going to talk about Plan 9 from Outer Space for a second because you
Okay.
piqued my interest. I love Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Me too.
I'm a big fan of Ed Wood movies.
Yeah.
Watching that in the black and white makes it so much more special.
Yeah.
It does. It really, really does. And I've seen the colorized version with the Riff Tracks commentaries and stuff like that.
Right.
Like I've seen the live show before, and it still doesn't compare to watching that in a black and white. Like, you know what would be great is if you could watch a 35 millimeter print of it. Like if you could actually just project it on there.
Yeah.
Because you get that experience of being in a 50 cinema.
Right.
Like we're going to be going to see the Treasure of the Sierra Madre in 35 millimeter, and that to me is like going to be the ultimate movie experience of this year because of that.
Yeah.
I watched Riff Tracks Godzilla, and they were doing the Godzilla from 1998, Roland Emmerich's.
Oh really?
Little gem, yeah.
Dude,
And they did it via a Kickstarter fund where they got the permission to show the movie in theaters and make money off of it.
Oh, because you
Because you have to
wouldn't
pay
normally be
you
able
have to
to
pay
do
the usage rights.
Right.
And I mean, they pointed out everything obviously that's wrong with that film, but watching that film again on a big screen and getting the commentary with them every so often was hilarious as fuck. Their reactions to I recommend everybody go to rifftracks.com and download that specific commentary and get Godzilla, the Roland Emmerich version, for like $1.99 on iTunes, and just sit down and watch it. It's a really fun experience. I love the Riff Tracks live crew. I think they're going to be doing another big screen a big screen film very, very soon. I can't remember which one, but go on to rifftracks.com. They'll be able to give you that information.
Very cool. Very cool. I really like Roland Emmerich's Godzilla.
You do?
I do. I
Why?
can't help it.
I mean, I don't know why, but obviously the CGI has changed over the
Yeah,
years.
the CGI
It's
is
hard
not great,
to watch
but,
it these
like-
days. Like, it does look very obviously fake.
Do you remember that Matthew Broderick got like pneumonia on the set of that movie because the CGI was so inadequate that they kept making it rain on every scene?
Yep.
So the whole set was just soaked at all times.
Yep.
So they were going to work just like working in the rain constantly. But I don't know. Like there's something charming about it to me. Like I think it's got some fun, like funny moments to it. Godzilla is not like obviously the new Godzilla. That Godzilla as a character and as a monster was more intimidating and cooler.
I thought that movie was much more cooler in general than Roland Emmerich's one because Roland Emmerich's one felt very 90s.
Yep.
Very, very fucking 90s.
Yeah, it was made in the 90s. Like,
yeah, that's true.
I mean, I know. Yeah, like it feels to me like Independence Day.
I get what you're saying.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
Independence
a fun
Day-
blockbuster movie.
Yeah, like Independence Day is stupid. The plot doesn't make sense. The like how you can't give a virus to a space alien ship. Like some of the lines are corny as hell.
Right.
Like whatever. I don't care. The movie is fun to me. And there's just something about like if Godzilla hadn't been called Godzilla, if that movie weren't called Godzilla,
If it was just called Giant Lizard.
yeah, right, yeah, like if it were just some other kaiju movie, then I think it would be okay.
Right.
It's just that like
The fact that they're
people
tying
just
it
sort of
into
hate that,
Godzilla
like-
is
Right.
overstepping a boundary.
well, at least for some people. For me,
Yeah.
I was fine because I'm like, dude, Godzilla's a like old shitty movie where a guy is in a suit.
Whoa,
like,
whoa! That first one's
I'm not saying
really
it's
good.
not. Yeah, it's cool. Like, and it has its place, but like in a very Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles way, like the bar is not really that high to some degree. Like those movies are cool, and actually that's unfair because the old movies were of their time,
Right, of their time, which is just
But I'm
like
just saying,
the-
like it's a movie where a giant monster rampages through a city,
Right.
And that's what that one is.
Okay, I
and
can see that point.
I thought like the whole sort of story element of it, like laying eggs, and now there's like Velociraptor Godzillas everywhere, like that kind of
tripping
thing
on
was cool.
basketballs.
Yeah, sure, it's silly.
That was my friend Derek Armillo, who has a great podcast called Popsicles, and he also does a blog called Picture Start. He described it really great. It was one of the best Toys R Us commercials he'd ever seen, or like a commercial for Nerf balls or something like
Yeah.
that. He just made a really good comparison to it, where I was just like, yeah, this movie is a very big commercial in some ways for a lot of things, but yeah, check out the Riff
it's-
Tracks one.
Is it It's probably the last Roland Emmerich movie I like.
Because after that, you didn't like The Day After Tomorrow?
Hell no.
I kind of liked it.
Oh God, The
I
Day
kinda-
After Tomorrow is like the tent pole for me of how bad his. I liked 2012
I liked
more.
I liked the whole like global warming has gotten so bad that boom. Like I was just like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, like at least 2012 was at least so ridiculous and over the top that I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
Woody Harrelson in that movie is funny as
Day
shit.
After Tomorrow wanted to be about something, but then it was just like, I don't know, there were these horrible CGI wolves, and
Yeah.
man.
Roland Emmerich's kind of silly. Cool, but
Cool.
anyway. All right, so this week we saw Life of Crime.
Yeah,
And-
we did.
Yeah, I mean, let's we'll get into it. James, what did you? Whoa,
What was that?
Who was that?
Is that the door?
Yeah.
Is that the door?
Here, I'll go.
Somebody open the door.
Creak. Why?
Oh,
it's
the
Spencer
door's open
Kane.
now.
Surprise, boys.
Oh wow! Hi,
Spencer
Spencer.
Kane.
Man,
What's
wow.
going on, fellas?
Not much. How are you? What are you doing in the neighborhood?
I was just popping by.
You-
I seen that you guys' lights was on.
Popping by? What are you doing? Went for a drug deal?
I like to walk the streets late at night.
Yeah. Spencer Kane walks the streets of night protecting Denver.
That's right.
Man, well, thanks for stopping by.
Spencer,
Yeah,
while
man,
you're
thanks for having me.
While you're here, would you like to sit down and talk about the movie? I know you saw it, Life of Crime.
Yeah, I think you were watching it while in the car on your way over here. Right?
Yeah.
A little cell phone thing just
Yeah.
before I rolled up.
It's all on your iPhone. The thing about the movie we saw this week, all on VOD, all on demand, right
Yeah.
at your fingertips. And do you have anything to plug while you're here? You know?
Well, I'm shamelessly sitting here. As a matter of fact, I just got cast in my first lead role in a feature film called
very
Boulder
cool.
Buds.
Right on.
Really cool. What's it
Excellent.
about?
It's about a young man. It's one of those like kind of an identity crisis about a young guy that's making some less than admirable choices, and he slings weed for a living. So his life is a calamity as a result of those choices.
Right. Cool. Absolutely. Well, that sounds awesome, man.
And I'm just the guy to portray that shit.
You are just the calamity.
You mean you're the type of guy who does all that?
Yeah, minus the slinging weed. I
Yeah,
never did get into that.
I don't think you need to. There's no reason to. You're an actor.
You never had enough to sling. You just had enough for you.
Just enough for me. And I would smoke that way too quick.
All I need is mine. Right on. So this week we saw Life of Crime. James, should people go see Life of Crime?
Yes, but a quick caveat.
Ooh.
So we did something really weird this week, like I said at the beginning of the show, where we saw a movie that's being released independently. So not everybody can see it right now, but also being released digitally. And so it was like, hey, this is a cool opportunity for us to see something, digitally before it's really released. So I went to the Amazon and found it there and said, like, oh, well, I will purchase this on Amazon. I'll rent it there, and then we'll watch it on my TV. Except that when I tried to pull up what I had rented on my PlayStation or my Roku or any of those devices, it was not available. So I had purchased it already on my computer, but I could only watch it on the computer. And I was like, what is this bullshit? So then I had to go, and I had to rent it on my PlayStation as well and watch it on my PlayStation. So I rented it twice in order to get it to work, which was kind of annoying. Like, it's really cool that this thing is getting out there, and I would pay $17 or like $14 to see this to rent this, so not a big deal. But still, it was like the barrier to entry is clearly a little bit too steep to really make this like a cool opportunity for little movies that wouldn't normally get the exposure to really get into most people's homes.
So there's a little difficulty.
It's got to be easy access because I am so inept with technology that it's got to be so easy for me to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
I would fail at the first mission.
I was syncing up Chromecasts
Holy
and
shit,
like
I don't even know what those words mean.
them and like, oh yeah, no, it was ridiculous.
Spencer, do you know what Facebook is still?
That's the only thing I know how to use to its maximum potential, and even then I still have a hard time tagging people.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like I'm a huge Jackie Brown fan. So these characters are already important to me, and I think that Mostef and the other guy,
John Hawkes.
Yeah. I think they did a really great job, and it's funny. It's fun to keep on top of, and I think it's definitely worth checking out.
Right on. Spencer, should people go see Life of Crime?
I think so. It was very cool.
Right on. And I'm going to agree. This is 3 for 3. I'm a big fan of Jackie Brown. That is my all-time favorite film by far.
Wow.
And so to watch a prequel to it and to watch one that was very well done, the spirit of Jackie Brown was there. The spirit of those 70s blaxploitation films were there, but also the 70s crime films, anything from the exploitation era. There's a lot of like nice little shots and homages to that period of cinema. The performances were excellent. Yasmin Bey. Or Mos Def as he's now. He was great in it as Ordell. John Hawkes did a great job playing Lewis, and I love Jennifer Aniston in it. It's one of my favorite Jennifer Aniston roles in recent memory. Except for I like the We're the Millers, but I thought she did a great job playing a victim here. Tim Robbins is hilarious.
He's the man.
Yep. And Will Forte, really good in the movie.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Really
Good
great
job on
comic
that
moments.
guy.
So anyway, here's a trailer for Life of Crime.
Listen, I'm going down to South Beach tonight. I told you about that, right?
I don't know, you might have.
Baby, what do you want to do? You want to have sex?
Since we're going to bed, yeah. I filed.
Wow.
That's her? Oh, that's hot. The one we want.
Oh, this is unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. It's a little strange. Yeah.
Frank?
Tomorrow morning, you're going to go to the bank and draw $1 million out of your account and deposit to account number 89.
Slow down. What am I, a stenographer?
$1 million? It's just not gonna happen.
What do you mean? Should I get it?
Do you want me to get it?
Maybe you should get it. I'll get it.
I'm getting it. I'm afraid Mr. Dawson isn't here right now.
This Melanie with the big... The woman want to hang up the phone on us. They think it's a game.
I'll call him.
We need to make an impression. Melanie, is he upstairs? Or did he leave the island?
I'm willing to cooperate because I like you. And I don't want to end up in the ocean again. He filed for divorce. You tell him he's never going to see his wife again. He doesn't want to see his wife again. You just saved him $100,000 a year in alimony.
Are you gonna kill me?
Is there a problem?
Ain't him that hard.
You hope you didn't.
You're a hunk, but you are a piss poor extortionist, if you don't mind me saying.
He's so dumb. It's adorable.
Hey, you keep your wife out here, someone's liable to steal her.
You promise?
One of the things that I love about this film is that when you're going into it, you're not set up in the same way as Jackie Brown. Like, you're not set up with this one central character that you're like following throughout the whole film. You're introduced to a whole caveat of characters, and you get to experience this full, rich world. Lewis and Ordell, their friendship is perfectly set up at the beginning to where you can understand where they can both kind of like understand where each other is coming from. So that way, any decision that they make, it doesn't really go over anybody's head. And I love the way they set up, they set up the simplicity of the crime. Like, they didn't try to overcomplicate it with a bunch of fast shots. They did it in a slow, meticulous fashion where everything felt like as if though it was actually progressing in real time.
And it's kind of cool because, with a movie like this, you always know that, these guys they've got a pretty simple crime that they're trying to commit. Something is going to get thrown in that messes it all up. And at first you think it's Marshall. And it's not really Marshall. It's really
Marshall
just
played by Will Forte.
Will Forte's character, yeah. It's really just that there are these little things along the way that all sort of together cause this crime to not work. It paints this bigger picture of crimes like this just being a lot harder to pull off than you would think.
Right.
Because there's just so many other variables in it.
And the dynamic of it, and I don't know if you've seen Jackie Brown, Spencer.
I have not.
You have not? Okay, not a big deal.
Probably my favorite Quentin Tarantino. No.
It's
my favorite Quentin Tarantino directed movie.
Oh. Yeah. Oh,
sorry, Quentin.
Okay, so we got a favorite script.
Yeah.
The movie Jackie Brown is essentially about the small and difficult tasks it takes for a crime to succeed, and this is all about how all those small, intricate details can lead to the failure of a crime.
Mm-hmm.
Like just everybody backstabbing each other, and like everybody having their own different motives. And I liked how they brought in characters from Jackie Brown, not just Ordell and Lewis, but they alluded to Melanie.
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah,
I don't know how that ties in, but
even if it was just a similar name, I thought it was funny that they alluded to that.
Yeah.
And also Mr. Walker, the cat who runs the fishing boat out of Mexico in Jackie Brown. He's the guy who's walking around with him on the golf course.
Yeah,
they don't really mention him, they don't outwardly say this is Mr. Walker, but you see shots of him in the beginning when they're talking about it, and he says Mr. Walker. So I thought that was pretty cool. You get to see characters that you didn't even get to see in Jackie Brown in this particular film.
But at the same time, I appreciate the fact that they don't set this up like... we're into the spoiler section here. This doesn't end with Lewis going to jail. It doesn't... These are the same characters, and we know them to some degree, but they're different. They're telling their own story here. It's not really dependent on Jackie Brown at all.
It's almost like
if you'd never
a
seen
reboot.
Jackie Brown, but if you'd never seen Jackie Brown, it wouldn't affect this movie at all.
Right.
I agree.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of cool. I really love Lewis, and so watching this movie, I really want to go back and watch Jackie Brown again because I feel like Lewis in this movie is such a much more heartwarming character.
Yeah, and quite charming too, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, which
you
he
were
should
definitely
be,
on
but
his side.
Yeah. And there's Robert De Niro's version of him. There's a sliver of that, but he's got this slightly crazy side to him as well.
I feel like the version in Jackie Brown is much more subdued criminal who's been doing this for a long time.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
this is him at his younger stages.
Yeah.
But it also felt like a reboot. Like Spencer, as he just said, hasn't seen Jackie Brown, but you were able to follow the movie and you were able to enjoy it on a high level. Like you were able to appreciate stuff in there.
Yeah, I know how to watch movies.
Yeah, but even without understanding, this is a prequel to another story.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, so it's easily accessible. One of the things that I also loved about it was that they also got they got the feel down, and he doesn't try to. What I love about it is the director Daniel Schechter, who he did Supporting Characters 2 years ago, and I thought that was a great film. It was on my top 10. So to watch him develop from this, from Supporting Characters to this, was interesting because he doesn't homage Tarantino, but he puts in music cues at the right times. So he doesn't try to like copy a Tarantino look. He creates his own look, and it feels naturally 70s.
Yeah.
Naturally with that vibe.
When he's not trying to go over the top the way that Quentin Tarantino does, right? Like Quentin Tarantino
He's
will
more
blow
subtle.
those characters out and give them, there's a reason why his version of Ordell has like the weird hair and like is really bombastic in the way that he talks. Like this Ordell is a cooler guy. He seems a lot more normal, which is it's fine. It's just two sides of the same coin.
He's much more confident and unaware of the things that can go wrong. And if you notice in Jackie Brown, he's overly cautious.
What do you think?
What I don't see a schedule of events.
It's a little loose. But see, what we are right now is to be flexible. You see what I mean? And it can go down any time once the old man is gone. And now that we know that he's going away and she's gonna be there all alone, that might be too good to wait.
The guy's pulling about $50K a month out of Detroit.
Not declaring it, not paying taxes, any of that shit.
Okay, why isn't that enough? Hold that over his head. He pays you or you go to the federal building.
Because I know he's doing it, but I can't prove it. I tell you, the man ain't dumb. It ain't like he got his name on no papers or nothing. If we take this man's wife, okay, he's so scared that he gotta pay. And it ain't like he can stall us out and tell us, oh, it's gonna take me a couple weeks to get the money together, not if he wanna see his wife again. Hey, listen, Lord. You heard all about it. You with it or not?
So he's been like, I've seen... that would explain the characterization where he's like, I've seen shit over the years, and now I know to be like, what the fuck, Jackie? What the fuck?
Yeah, right, exactly.
But you have to see that progression, and I think that totally works with this adaptation of an Elmore Leonard novel, especially one where characters are connecting.
Right.
One of the things that I noticed about the film is that it didn't lag. It did not lag. It didn't feel slow. It didn't feel as slow as a 70s film.
Yeah.
It had the right amount of speed for a modern paced thriller, so I like the way he balances that out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I mean, also Tim Robbins. When's the last time we seen him in a movie? Green Lantern.
Was he in Green Lantern?
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, that's right.
He played the father of Brain Guy. I'm not a Green Lantern guy.
No, I don't remember.
Nobody was.
You don't need to remember Green Lantern.
The last movie I seen him in was Tenacious D: The Pick of Destiny. Man.
Tim Robbins was in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about it. I haven't seen that, but like you watch him in the movie. He's fucking funny as
he's
all heck.
great.
I love how he's just his interactions with Ilsa Fisher just remind us like, Tim Robbins, who I actually just watched this week in The Shawshank Redemption. And that guy is always solid no matter what he does, and in this one it's no exception.
So
the last scene where he's talking with Jennifer Aniston about getting a lawyer and like the different crimes that he's committed in fraud, I just liked the battle they were having between those two, and then watching Jennifer Aniston's response. Like he has that line where he's like, "You look different, you changed."
Yeah.
Just watching that connection really did it for me.
You know what's funny? So the movie he was in before this was Thanks for Sharing, but then before that, Green Lantern.
Green Lantern.
It really is
Tenacious
not. Nope. There's a few things between there, but still, yeah, it really has. He doesn't work as much as he used to, probably because he doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to.
He's Tim
just
Robbins.
Kicks it.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, no, he was really great, and it's cool to see him. Be a bad guy? He's a bad guy. He's not a good guy.
He's a shady character.
Yeah,
He's
he's
a shyster, man.
dislikable.
Dislikable.
But you can see where he's coming from a little tiny bit, even though you don't agree with that nonsense.
Yeah, like, he's, no, because if my wife was Jennifer Aniston, I probably wouldn't fly to the Bahamas and cheat on her. but still.
You psycho.
Exactly. If I were Brad Pitt, wait a second.
Why did I leave that?
One does not know.
She must be crazy. She must be crazy or something.
I would put up with a degree of bullshit.
If it were Jennifer Aniston. Yeah. Jennifer Aniston meets Spencer Kane. Crazy meets crazy.
I'll put up with a lot of your horse shit if you take care of me.
You know who was really good, though? Was the guy who played Richard. Let's see, Mark Boone Jr.
Mark Boone Jr. Oh my gosh, this character.
Man, he was fantastic.
I can't remember The Switch, the novel, so I don't remember this character, but
he feels very much like a
Elmore. It's an Elmore Leonard character. So yeah. I'm sure it's in the book. I haven't read The Switch since high school, so to watch that character develop and also just. He gets dark. He gets really dark, and then it's lifted back up with such a comic moment in a dark setting when he finally gets shot down. It almost felt like a very darker version of that character in The Producers, Franz Liebken.
Yeah, right. He's a cool one because one of the interesting things this movie does is that we're used to crime films where things start to go wrong and. People start getting killed and people start going to jail and all of that. But the truth is, he's one of the... What's interesting about this movie is that he's one of those pieces that then turns and corrects itself so that by the end of the movie, we get this really cool moment where the wife who was originally kidnapped and the two people who originally kidnapped her turn on Frank's new,
Frank's
hubby.
New squeeze, yeah.
And is like, wait, we could just kidnap you, and then we'll all three get $1 million.
That last shot was brilliant.
Like freeing them of all of that garbage, including Richard, and being like, why don't we just do this again? We're going to get the money eventually. The guy's got it. We know we've got it.
I love the mentality of this film is if at first you don't succeed, try again.
Exactly. Yeah, it's cyclical.
Yeah.
That when that crime fails, you just have to do it again until you figure out how to make the crime work for you.
And it also has that story of finding your purpose. Yeah. Jennifer Aniston finding her purpose in extortion, but still finding her purpose.
She does apparently just sort of give up on her son altogether and be like, well,
yeah,
he was kind of a prick.
That was a little open-ended.
Right. Well, maybe she's getting $1 million to give to him.
Yeah, who knows?
She wants that money so she can take care of him.
Right on.
Sure.
The beautiful thing about this story, it leaves it open-ended.
Yeah.
So overall, I would say this is a film to go check out. It's on VOD. Yeah. Despite how hard it was for James and Spencer to find this film,
never made an attempt.
Yeah, not one. You can go on to Amazon.com. You can go to a bunch. I think you can did it at Redbox, and it comes out in select theaters. I believe
it's already out now.
It's already out
in LA and New York, you can get it, and then it's going to do the normal indie thing. So hopefully it'll do well enough that it'll start to tour around, and you'll get it in your local towns. If you go to their website, lifeofcrimemovie.com, you can actually request it at your zip code. So hopefully if enough people in your area say hey, go see this movie, you will get to see this movie.
Yeah, go see this film. It's really fun. It's a fun crime movie and a fun September watch, especially in a month that's dead
pretty
as dust.
Dead,
yeah. It's we're only getting maybe 1 or 2 good releases this month, and then the rest. So if you're looking for a fun film to watch that's new and exciting, check out Life of Crime.
Yeah,
cool.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yes, awesome. Next week we are. I'm not sure.
We still don't know what we're doing next week. Cora is in town, so we're gonna have Cora on the show, and it's sort of her decision. So we will just be in touch, and you all will find out what we see next week.
Excellent, cool. Spencer, do you want to plug anything else before you leave? I know you have to get back to watching the streets of Denver, fighting vigilantly for justice.
I don't know what kind of crime has gone on since I've been screwing around with you guys. But Boulder Buds. I feel like you can go on Facebook and check out Boulder Independent Productions, and
is it all getting shot in Boulder?
Yeah, shot on location a lot of the time.
Very cool. How long is the shoot?
It's going to be separated in over a couple weeks,
okay.
or maybe a month total, a couple months, something like.
Yeah.
So
Do you have to do anything crazy like shave part of your head and then have it grow back 2 weeks later?
Are you going to have a Travis Bickle look?
for once, I just get to show up and just be me. But I am going to start taking some kung fu lessons because my character knows kung fu.
What the fuck?
Right.
Are you in the Matrix?
Really be able to defend
So now
Denver.
this is the ultimate Spencer Kane character.
Yeah.
Right.
This is the one
it's
who knows how to
basically-
fight, the one who knows how to look good, the one who knows how to kick ass.
Not to mention a little bit of reefer here and there.
There you
it's-
go.
It's Spencer Kane, but high and knows kung fu.
Bud beat up.
That's deadly, baby.
Bud beat up beautiful.
I think that's the tagline of the film now.
Yeah, Bud beat up beautiful.
3 people are going to go see
Y'all
it.
owe me $3
Just to see Spencer Kane.
Hell yeah.
Fuck it. You might as well retitle the movie now.
Right. And before we leave, congratulations to Ryan having his kid.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Once again, thank you for everybody and for the baby.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty cool. I went and saw it, and it was pretty neat.
I went and saw it.
Yep. It was pretty dope.
Right on.
Cool little kid. He's lifting his head up and everything. It was adorable.
He's like,
Nice.
James, you suck.
Son of a bitch! This guy's gonna replace me on the podcast.
It's just like Ryan.
I can see my career in podcasting going away as he gets groomed to take my place.
Kellen rises to the top.
Yeah. Next week will be the baby podcast. All babies all the time.
Welcome
Just
to
Ryan,
Real Nuts Podcast.
Ryan talking to his son about
All
like,
babies, all the time. I like that.
All right, Kellen, this is
This is what we
Nightmare
watched
on
this
Elm
week.
Street 1. Now let me explain to you why this one's important. No, stop crying. Why are you crying?
Why are you crying? It's
Why?
a movie.
Yeah, it's
No.
Freddy Krueger's not real.
He won't invade your dreams at all.
No,
Come
not
on
at all.
now. You need to grow up already.
That's right.
This shit is serious.
I would start with American Werewolf in London.
Yes.
myself.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, there you go. If Ryan's gonna start the kid off on a classy note, get it with American Werewolf in London, or maybe a Dracula or a Frankenstein or something like that.
yeah.
Show him the classic monsters.
Well, I'd
you
show
gotta
him a
show
really
'em-
scary American Werewolf, and then show him
Yeah,
a
and then-
nice Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Or
yeah,
Lon
yeah.
Chaney's the werewolf after American Werewolf in London.
I don't remember what the first actual horror movie I saw was.
Stay tuned next week when we find out the first horror
Think about it.
movie.
Think about it and get back to me on that.
All right, cool. Thank you so much, Spencer.
Thanks for having me over, guys.
All right.
Get back to fighting the streets of Denver.
Thank you.
If you see me on the streets, just remember I'm
Remember your face?
Yeah, remember my face. So in that way, if I could if somebody tries to rape me in an alley, you'll come and fight them off, right?
You're like, you get him high, I'll get him low.
Bye.
Bye.
Later on.
Visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com. You can tweet us at real_nerds. You can email us even, realnerds@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook. Hey, stream us on Stitcher. You want to call us? 720-6nerds5. And download us on iTunes. Just search Real Nerds. Thank you, Joe Kempter, for the wonderful voiceover. And also Spark Mandrill for the wonderful late-night jazz smooth sounds of movies. You can find him on SoundCloud. This has been a Nebulous Visions production.